Chapter 41. After Wuming left the meeting room, he immediately went to his bedroom. Wuming stretched out his hand, and a twisted golden scepter appeared in his hand. I hope my idea can be realized. With that, Wuming crossed his legs and activated the floating function of the scepter of Anziwergong, allowing it to float in front of him. Wuming closed his eyes and began to permeate his mind power into the scepter of Anziwergong. 7 days later, outside Wuming's bedroom on the 9th floor of Nasarek, a group of guardians surrounded Wuming's bedroom door. Annabelle, what happened to Master Wuming? It's been 6 days since the planned departure time. You just said Master Wuming ordered us not to disturb him, don't worry. How can I not be worried? If something happens to Lord Wuming. Urbeda had a heartbroken expression on his face as he yelled heartbreakingly at a female servant who was standing guard outside the door. Annabelle said very calmly, Master Yerbade, I am also very worried about Master Wuming, but Master Wuming has clearly stated that no one can enter without permission. I am very sorry. All right, Yerbade. Demiugos, who was standing at the side, pushed up his glasses. Since Master Wuming said this, he must have his reasons. Let's leave it at that for today. Go back and continue the work that Master Wuming gave you. That's right. Although we come to Master Wuming's bedroom every day to wait for Master Wuming to come out, we cannot slack off on the work that Master Wuming gave us. Cositas said with an unusually hoarse voice as he breathed out cold air. Let's go, Yerbade. Master Wuming will be fine. Yerbade pulled Yerbade aside. How can I? That fake breast is finally not in Nasarek. How can I miss such a good opportunity? That. I think it's not good to sneak away while Satya is not here, Malay said weakly. Just as the commotion was going on, a large amount of magic power came from Wuming's room. The magic power even destroyed Wuming's bedroom door. The large amount of magic power in the room condensed into a magic power mist that kept leaking out of the door. Master Wuming. In an instant, the guardians, including the maid Annabelle, panicked. I'm fine. Wuming's voice came from within the magic power mist. This can't be wasted. With that, the mana mist that had been coming out of the room began to shrink back into the room. Finally, all of the magic power mist was the staff in Wuming's staff. Was the staff of staff. However, at this time, although the appearance of the staff of staff did not change, the guardians who had been lucky enough to see this staff found that Nazarek's secret treasure, the staff, had become more sacred. And those who had not seen this staff, including Annabelle, were in awe of it from the bottom of their hearts. Master Wuming. Everyone present saluted to Wuming, knelt on one knee, and bowed their heads to greet him. Seeing this scene, Wuming smiled bitterly. I clearly told them not to salute like this and just bow, but they refused on the grounds of not being disrespectful to Master Wuming in public. Really, a group of troublemakers. Get up, everyone. Yes. After everyone got up, Wuming continued. If you want to know what happened, I'll explain it in the conference hall later. Yair Abed, get someone to clean up the room. Annabelle Gamma, go get ready and follow me to the royal city later. Yes. Master Wuming. Yes. Master Wuming. A moment later, the guardians gathered in the room where the previous meeting was held. The guardians sat on the chairs and quietly looked at Wuming, who was holding the staff of staff. Guardians, now I want to announce something that is worthy of me, worthy of you, and worthy of the entire Nasarek to be excited. Wuming said with a charming smile. After the guardians heard this, they all sat up straight. Before the announcement, I want to ask a question. Wuming glanced at the guardians and said, do you have any thoughts about the world we were in before, Yggdrasil? As soon as these words came out, the guardians' bodies tensed up. The guardians stood up together, knelt on one knee, and bowed their heads. Where Master Wuming is where we are, and we will always follow Master Wuming. Now we have the ability to travel to other worlds, and this ability is the treasure of Nasarek that I have, the staff of staff. All the guardians' eyes lit up. However, this was Wuming's lie. Unfortunately, we can't choose the worlds we can travel to. Then, Master Wuming, you mean that the first world we travel to might be Yggdrasil, and the last world we travel to might be Yggdrasil? Demiugos pushed his glasses and said, "Correct, but there is also the possibility that we will never return to Yggdrasil. After all, there are too many worlds. My biggest interest is traveling, so I may leave Nasrik in the future." Master Wuming. Hearing what Wuming said, everyone was anxious, especially Bade, who looked like he was about to cry. "He's already crying." Wuming complained in his heart. "Don't worry, I will take you and our Nasrik with me. Now the plan has changed. Except for the members of Nasrik who are outside. All members are not allowed to go out without my permission. Use message to inform Sebastian and Zaisha to collect the necessary information as soon as possible and return to Nasrik as soon as possible. Leave this matter to the Guardian's chief supervisor, Bade." "Yes, Master Wuming." Wuming looked at Demiugos. "Demiugos?" "Yes, Master." "Raise the alert level of Nasrik again to beyond the highest alert level. I believe that as the commander of the Guardians, you will be able to do it well." "Yes, Master Wuming, I will not disappoint you. I will definitely break through the highest alert level of Nasrik. As for the matter of the staff of Anziergong traveling between worlds, you can spread it on your own. The first and third levels will be given to Cositas, the fifth level will be given to Yuri and Mare, and the eighth level will be given to Demiugos. After completing the corresponding task, stand by. Dismissed." "Yes, Master Wuming." After a flash of light, Wuming left using the staff of Anziergong's teleportation function. The Guardians quickly took action, and Nasrik ushered in a big change. At this moment, Wuming and Annabelle were walking on the road to the royal capital. Chapter 42. In the carriage. Wuming was resting with his eyes closed. After Wuming came to this different world, he had been wearing the white holy cloth of the Uruk. Because he was going to the capital, Wuming changed into a set that met the standards of this different world. White underwear, a black coat, a pair of black trousers and a pair of black boots. His neat short hair was constantly floating with the wind coming in from the window. There were no traces of erosion by time on his face. He still looked like a young man. Outside, Annabelle was driving the horse and driving the carriage at the moment. He wore a white shirt with black collar and sleeves, brown trousers, and brown boots that reached his calves. He wore a brown cloak that covered his body, and an ordinary sheathed longsword hung at his waist. Annabelle looked at Wuming, who was resting with his eyes closed in the carriage from time to time. Obviously, Annabelle already knew the new function of the staff of Ains Ergong. Feeling the gaze outside, Wuming had to smile bitterly in his heart. I didn't expect them to be so surprised after knowing that Nasrik can travel between worlds. I was obviously lying. No, it's not a lie. After all, I can now take Nasrik with me to travel between worlds. Previously, Wuming thought that he entered this different world after fusing with a light ball. After a later judgment, the light ball was the big underground tomb of Nasrik. In other words, the big underground tomb of Nasrik should have become part of Wuming. But because of the nobility of Wuming's bloodline, his bloodline was automatically expelled from the big underground tomb of Nasrik after Wuming entered this world. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been Nasrik on the grassland near Urantir. Instead, there would have been a huge dragon lying there. But because Nasrik and Wuming had fused for a short time, and the staff of Ains Ergong could be said to be closely related to the big underground tomb of Nasrik, Wuming suddenly had an idea. What would happen if the staff of Anziergen became my noble phantasm? Wuming was filled with curiosity and unknowns. That was why Wuming went into seclusion in his bedroom for 7 days despite his plans being disrupted. These 7 days were used to upgrade the staff of Anziergen into a noble artifact. As Wuming had fused with Nazarik's underground grave for a short period of time, the time it took for Wuming to transform the staff of Anziwergong into a relic was much shorter than the time it took for other relics to evolve. After the staff of Anziwergong was transformed into a relic, it had 2 abilities. Firstly, it was because the staff of Anzurgen had a large number of magic skills. After it was upgraded to a noble relic, it became a super weapon that could release tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of magic spells. Secondly, Anziergong Guild's stronghold was located in the underground graveyard of Nasrik. The staff of Anziergong was the guild weapon of Anziergong Guild. If the guild weapon was destroyed, the guild would be forcefully disbanded. The guild weapon had the highest authority in the guild. After the staff of Anziergong was upgraded into a noble relic, its ability became to store the underground graveyard of Nasarek into the staff of Anziergong. It could also form an enchantment that eroded the world, and summon the underground graveyard of Nasarek to its master in the form of magic. In short, it was the reality marble of the world in the shape of the moon. The magic that could instantiate the scenery in one's mind was called reality marble. Once the reality marble was activated, it would change the surrounding space into a completely different scenery, shaping the caster's mind and eroding the real world. That was why Wuming said that the staff of Anziergong could allow the underground graveyard of Nasarek to travel between worlds. However, what I care about is the second ability of the noble relic, the staff of Anziergong. The biggest advantage of the reality marble was that everything in the enchantment was immortal. The people or things in the Nazarek's underground graveyard were killed or destroyed, and they would only turn into magic residue, drifting away with the wind, and it had no effect on the people or things themselves. Even if they were destroyed, killed, or even destroyed the entire reality marble, as long as the caster had enough magic power, he could summon them again. In that case, Wuming could use the second ability of the staff of Anziergong without worrying about the guardian's safety. That's great. Wuming couldn't help but say what was on his mind. What's wrong, Wuming-sama? Annabelle, who was outside the carriage, couldn't help but ask. No, nothing. Wuming smiled helplessly. Then he remembered something and said, Didn't I tell you to call me Villo-sama? Villo there answered. The carriage stopped. Yes, Wuming-sama. Annabelle instantly ran to the carriage, knelt on one knee, and said with her head down, It's Villo. Mr. Villo. Wuming raised his voice and shouted, Yes, Mr. Villo-sama. Wuming was silent for a while. Forget it, just call me that, let's move on. Yes. Mr. Villo-sama. Wuming felt like the glass in his heart was broken. Wuming-sama, we're here. Hearing Annabelle's words, Wuming opened his eyes. He poked his head out and looked at the slightly plain gate of the royal city. We're finally here. In fact, Wuming was a little anxious about coming to the royal city before he upgraded the staff of Anziergong into a noble artifact. After all, Nasarek wanted to survive in this world, and it was inevitable that he would have to deal with the natives of this world. However, after finding a way to take Nasarek out of this world, Wuming was not so anxious about Nasarek taking root in this world. After all, there is no world that Nasarek likes to move to, so it's better to take root in this world for the time being. That was Wuming's thought. Let's go, Annabelle. Find a hotel to stay first. Yes. Mr. Villo-sama. Wuming was speechless. Soon, Wuming and Annabelle stayed in a good hotel with the little money they had left. Because when they were in Khan Village, Gujiefu once said, If Mr. Villo wants to come to the royal city, please come to me and let me do my best. After recalling the address mentioned by Gujiefu, Wuming took Annabelle to Gujiefu's residence. It was a very ordinary house without any special features. Except for Annabelle, who was slightly dissatisfied, Wuming felt that this house was good. Wuming stepped forward and knocked on the door. After waiting for a while, no one responded. It seems that Gujiefu is not at home. Forget it, let's go back to the hotel first, Annabelle. A mere bug can make the supreme wait like this. Mr. Villo-sama, please rest assured that I will personally tie it up and bring it to the hotel. With that said, she was about to raise her hand to cast magic on the house. Wuming was just about to stop Annabelle, and suddenly a voice that was quite familiar to Wuming came from a distance. Are you Mr. Villo-sama? Chapter 43. Wuming looked at the source of the voice. A strong man in his 30s stood there in plain clothes. Long time no see, Sir Gujiefu. Wuming waved and smiled. Please forgive me for not being able to entertain you at my humble abode. Gujiefu put 2 glasses of water in front of Wuming, who was sitting. Isn't this proof of Sir Gujiefu's integrity? Wuming didn't mind and took a glass of water to drink. Annabelle, don't stand there, sit down and drink a glass of water. This is an order. Yes, Vilo-sama. Annabelle, who was standing behind Wuming, had to sit down after hearing Wuming's order. As for the address, after Wuming thought about it again and again, he still let Annabelle call him sir. After all, Mr. Rosin was stranger than Rosin. Thank you again, Vilo-sama. If it weren't for you, I would have died in Khan village. Looking at good Jiefu solemnly thanking him, Wuming waved his hand casually. You're welcome, Sir Good Jiefu. I have to trouble you to come to the capital this time. Good Jiefu was taken aback and then smiled bitterly. I thought Sir Vilo came to me to introduce you to the king. It seems that I'm flattered. Then he looked serious. So Sir Vilo, what's the matter? Wuming stretched out his hand, and a 3-fist-sized rectangular gray-black metal appeared in his hand. This is? Steel? Good Jiefu was more excited after seeing it. Yes, that was the pure steel block created by Wuming with advanced item creation. Not only the shape was good for forging weapons, but the density was also higher than the steel produced in this world. Such a large piece of finished steel. Is Sir Vilo here to sell this piece of steel to me? Wuming smiled. No, Sir Good Jiefu, I'm here to do business with you. I have a lot of finished steel blocks of this size. Wuming put the steel block on the table. I wonder if Sir Good Jiefu will be able to eat it. Good Jiefu thought for a while. If there are really a lot of them, I can't make the decision. How about this, Your Excellency Vilo? It just so happens that Her Royal Highness is looking for me. Let me bring you to see Her Royal Highness. Oh, could it be the Golden Princess who proposed many wise policies in the kingdom? Wuming's eyes flashed. Yes, it's Her Royal Highness the Golden Princess. What do you think? Of course, no problem. Although he said so, Wuming thought in his heart, can a princess come up with so many outstanding examples? I feel like there's something wrong with her. Soon, Wuming and Annabelle were taken to a villa near the palace by Good Jiefu. Although it was called a villa, it did not look luxurious. Instead, it gave off a simple feeling. After following the servant to the living room, Wuming and Good Jiefu chatted while waiting for the arrival of the Golden Princess. Annabelle, who was standing behind Wuming, was somewhat unhappy. She said something like, a mere insect dares to make Lord Wuming, a supreme expert, wait. This subordinate will definitely make her pay the price. Although Wuming deliberately suppressed it, Good Jiefu didn't hear it. After a while, a sweet voice came. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Wuming looked at the source of the voice. What caught Wuming's eyes was the golden blonde hair. The visitor was wearing a white princess dress with other colored decorations. She wore necklace-like ornaments on her neck and forehead, and a golden petite crown on her head. Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Good Jiefu. I heard that you brought someone important, so I prepared a little. It's my fault for not asking Her Royal Highness in advance. After some small talk, Good Jiefu introduced Wuming to the princess. This is the Vilo Silensword who saved my life in Khan village. Good Jiefu then introduced the princess to Wuming. This is the third princess of the kingdom, Lady Lana. The princess looked at Wuming. Thank you, Mr. Vilo Silensword. Thank you very much for saving Mr. Good Jiefu. Lana thanked Wuming as soon as she came up. I'm Lana Ter Chardin Lao Van Seve. I'm sorry I didn't see your name on the newspaper. Wuming looked at the naive Lana without any change in his expression. It's my honor to see a commoner like me, Princess Lana. Wuming said half-jokingly. You're funny, Mr. Silensword. Lana covered her mouth and laughed. Wuming looked at the beautiful person in front of him and thought. Lana Ter Chardin Lao Van Seve, the third princess of the kingdom of Rystage. She was known for her beauty and wisdom, and was praised as the Golden Princess by the people. But she looks a little like Morgan Le Fay. So, Mr. Good Jiefu, why did you bring Mr. Silensword to see me? Princess Lana asked the question in her heart. It's like this, Your Royal Highness. Good Jiefu took out the stainless steel that Wuming provided, and explained the purpose of Wuming's visit to Princess Lana. So that's how it is. Princess Lana, who understood the cause and effect, had a look of sudden realization. Don't worry, Mr. Silensword. I will help you find a trustworthy merchant. Please allow me to purchase some of your stainless steel as a member of the royal family. Wuming didn't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the kingdom buying it all. After all, I'm just a merchant here to sell things, Your Royal Highness. Wuming smiled. Just call me Lana. I believe that a person who saved the kingdom's warrior captain must be a good person. Lana smiled at Wuming. This sentence surprised Wuming. After all, in Wuming's eyes he wasn't a good person. Whether it was in Connaught, Britain, Babylon, or now Nasaric, Wuming was always protecting his own interests. In order to let Maeve let him go, Wuming promised Maeve to help him finish the war. In order to protect Britain, Wuming had done a lot of dirty things. He had thought of buying goods and murder countless times. In Babylon, with Gilgamesh there, Wuming didn't have to do too much for Babylon. However, it was also because Wuming couldn't defeat the gods of Sumer pantheon, and could only bluff. Otherwise, Wuming wouldn't have left with Enkidu, who faked his death. In Nasaric, the original Nasaric people were people with a negative sense of justice. Wuming didn't ask them to change. He only advised a few people not to be too hostile towards humans. Of course, that was only towards people who were kind. As for people who were full of evil intentions and scum, even if they were killed by the people of Nasaric, Wuming wouldn't bat an eye. Wuming was such a person who was full of egoism, and did as he pleased. Hearing Lana praise Wuming as a good person, Wuming was a bit absent-minded. Since it's daily, Princess Lana should also call me a Villo. Otherwise it wouldn't be fair. Wuming said. Yes, Mr. Villo. Well, since they don't have any evil intentions, I don't need to care whether they miss Morgan Le Fay or not. It doesn't affect me anyway. Just like that, Wuming's merchant plan was successfully carried out. Just as Wuming and Lana were happily talking, a young man came into the room. Chapter 44. I'm very sorry, Your Highness Lana, I'm late. A young man opened the door and walked in. The young man had short blonde hair, a youthful face, and a resolute face. He was wearing white armor. Although he looked young, he gave off a very reliable feeling. Lana smiled and shook her head. It's okay, Clem. I'm here to discuss something with Mr. Jejjef. Not to mention, Mr. Jejjef also brought Mr. Villo Silensword, who saved Mr. Jejjef's life in Khan village. Hearing that it was the person who saved Jejjef's life, the young man named Clem's eyes lit up. He turned his head and looked at the only male in the room other than Jejjef. That direct gaze made Annabelle a little unhappy. Just as Annabelle was about to say something, Wuming reached out his hand to stop her. After all, if the situation was not right, Annabelle would speak very arrogantly. He had to stop her. Is your name Clem? Do you have something to ask me? Yes, Mr. Silensword. I want to ask you how to become stronger. Clem, you're being rude. Princess Lana shouted. Jejjef seemed to know something. He didn't say anything and just watched quietly. At this moment, no one said anything. Suddenly, a female voice was heard. You still haven't given up, boy. Everyone looked at the closed door. The voice came from outside the door. Is it Gragland? Princess Lana asked. The door was pushed open. The first to come in was a tall and sturdy blonde woman wearing red armor. It was as if a woman's head was pressed against a strong man's body. It was quite out of place. You should also stop talking, Gragland. Then came a pair of twin sisters. They were almost identical. Ohina T. Are you too interested in this virgin? Haha. Her hair was tied up with a golden broom. She wore a scarf around her neck like a mask. Her upper body was wearing armor that only covered her chest. Her lower body was in shorts. Overall, it looked like a rather revealing female ninja outfit. Their clothes were embroidered with red and blue threads and patterns respectively. The red one was Tina, and the blue one was Tia. What nonsense are you talking about? Looks like it's not suitable for you to go out today, Glenn. Following that, a petite masked woman with a spirited expression walked in. He wore a red hooded cloak over his black clothes, and a mask with a red gem embedded on his forehead. Strands of golden hair peeked out from the hood and mask. Alright, Gigran Urbirue, this is Her Highness Guest Hall. Stop messing around. The person who spoke seemed to be the captain. She was a beautiful woman with long blonde hair. She wore red tights and a blue skirt. She wore white cloth armor on her chest, a pair of white gauntlets on her forearms, and white protective boots on her calves. Oh, Hajjasai, you're here. Princess Lana, on the other hand, was quite happy to see this woman who seemed to be the team leader. She stood up and ran over to hold Haggis' hand. Lana, I'm sorry to disturb you while you're talking to the warrior chief. Let me introduce you. This is the leader of Wild Rose, my friend, Haggis Elba Druindora. Hello. Haggis said with a smile. This is Mr. Villo Silensword, the one who saved Mr. Jejjef's life in Con Village. Next to him is Mr. Villo's guard, Miss Annabelle. Just call me Villo. I'm not a pedantic person. Wuming stood up and greeted Wild Rose's people. Haha, you're so cool. Are you interested in having a go with me, handsome? Gigren's rough voice came. You aphid, don't you know what you look like? You'd better go back to the furnace and be reborn first before you consider whether to serve Sir Villo. Annabelle said mercilessly. Oh, you look so arrogant, let's go out and practice. Gigren. Annabelle. Wuming and Haggis stopped the fight at the same time. Well, let's solve Clem's problem first. At this time, Gigren returned to the topic. Kid, you want to ask the strong to tell you how to become strong again, right? Clem was silent. Gigren's rough voice continued. I've said it before, the so-called saying that you can become strong through hard work is no longer suitable for you. Although some heroes also became strong through hard work, you've worked hard enough. I believe that no one in the kingdom can be said to be more hardworking than you. Give up, kid, you can't become strong anymore. Gigren's words made Clem's face pale, but from his determined eyes, it was clear that Clem had no intention of giving up. That's true, Wuming said slowly. But there are many ways to become strong. Wuming looked at Clem. Let me ask you, why do you want to become strong? Clem looked at Princess Lana, and then looked at Wuming. I want to become strong, to be able to protect Princess Lana. After that, there was another moment of silence. A moment later. Protect? Wuming smiled. Come out with me. After that, Wuming walked out of the room. Annabelle glanced at Clem and followed Wuming. Clem and Lana's faces were filled with joy. Could that handsome guy really make Clem stronger? Let's go out and see. Irby Rue, who was wearing a mask, said. Roast Song and the others followed. In the courtyard, Wuming and Clem stood opposite each other. Don't you need a weapon? Clem asked. Wuming smiled and shook his head. Come at me with all you've got, Clem. Otherwise, you won't have the chance later. Although his words were arrogant, Wuming was not wrong. Then I'll go, Mr. Sirenthold. After that, Clem rushed forward with his sword. Clem swung his sword down, but Wuming's body swayed and dodged the attack. Seeing how easily Wuming dodged his attack, Clem swung his sword harder and faster, while Wuming continued to dodge. Clem had already swung his sword a dozen times, but none of them hit Wuming, and Wuming did not even take half a step back. Clem, have you heard of a saying? Wuming kept dodging Clem's attacks and said. When a person is in danger, they will explode with unprecedented power. Yes, I know. Clem replied. After hearing this, Wuming squinted his eyes. Are you ready? Without waiting for Clem's reply, Wuming released his terrifying aura. The magic power emitted from Wuming's body wreaked havoc on the ground around him, causing dirt to fly everywhere. Everyone present except Clem felt like they were facing a dragon, and their eyes were full of fear. Clem, who was targeted by Wuming's aura, was unable to move, and fear continued to erode Clem's heart. Let me see your determination to protect. Chapter 45. No. If this goes on, I'll die. Clem thought in his heart. I'm going, Wuming said calmly as he raised his seemingly normal arm. He clenched his fist and punched towards Clem at a very slow speed. Although the speed seemed slow to Clem could feel it. If I get hit, I'll definitely die. Everyone looked at Wuming and Clem nervously. Although the situation was dangerous, they still believed that Wuming wouldn't kill Clem. Her Highness Lana. Feeling his heartbeat, Clem thought about the face of the person he swore to serve for the rest of his life. Suddenly, Clem felt the chain in his body break. Padash. The shackles that restricted his abilities were broken. Wuming's fist wind formed a tornado, sweeping up the dirt on the ground. In an instant, Dust filled the air. Lana, Roastsong, and the others stared at the dust in the courtyard without blinking, wondering what the outcome would be. Slowly, the smoke and dust dispersed, revealing the figures of two people. Clem. Princess Lana couldn't help but call out. Clem's posture didn't change as he stood on the spot. The sword in his hand was swung forward, held tightly by Wuming's other hand. Wuming's arm that swung out stopped beside Clem's head. Wuming slowly retracted his arm and smiled at Clem. Congratulations, you've broken through your limits. This sentence was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. After Clem heard it, his body couldn't support itself and fell to the ground. Breathing heavily and feeling the pain on his body, Clem looked at the sky. He had never felt the sky was so blue before. Even under my aura, you can still dodge and swing your sword. Seems like your awareness is quite strong, Clem. Wuming then took out a healing potion from Dragonist and passed it to Princess Lana. This is a healing potion, Princess Lana. Give it to Clem. Everyone looked at the red healing potion with doubt in their hearts. After all, in this world healing potions were all blue in color. Red potion. But under the mask of Ibiruai's face, there was a slight change. What is it, Ibiruai? Gedgeland asked Ibiruai. No. I'm fine. After Lana fed the healing potion to Clem, everyone returned to the meeting room. Clem asked impatiently as soon as he sat down, fully recovered. Lord Villo, just now The Villo understood Clem's doubts and asked. A person's brain will limit most of their skills to prevent damage to their body. Just now, you broke through part of the limit under my pressure, which is why your body is in so much pain. After taking a sip of the tea, Wuming put it down. Now you should be able to control the release of this restriction. You should be able to sense it yourself. Yes, thank you very much for your guidance, Sir Villo. This humble one is eternally grateful. Well, Virgin, you have indeed become stronger, although it was only for a moment. You should have reached the level of a platinum-level adventurer. Gedgeland said from the side. In this world, there was a profession called an adventurer. Wuming knew from the interrogation of the people from the Sunshine Holy Bible that adventurers were people who dealt with monsters. These people were similar to multi-purpose mercenaries and were managed by the Adventurers Guild. The adventurers' level was differentiated by the rarity of the metal. The metal that symbolized their identity from lowest to highest were copper, iron, silver, gold, platinum, mithril, orichalcum, and stainless steel. Hearing this, Wuming reached out his hand, and a thin white knight's sword appeared in Wuming's hand. Then how about adding this? Wuming tossed the knight's sword to Clem. This is stainless steel. Clem was confused. It's a pure stainless steel knight's sword. When everyone heard this, they were all shocked. Although a small amount of stainless steel could increase the weapon's quality, no one would use pure stainless steel to forge a weapon. Moreover, with such a large piece of stainless steel, it was hard to say if they could find a blacksmith who could forge a pure stainless steel weapon. After all, stainless steel was the hardest metal in this world. How can I, Mr. Villo? I can't accept such a valuable weapon. Clem's expression was determined not to accept it, and Roastsong's expression was the same. After all, no one would be so nice for no reason. Okay, just accept it. After all, I still have something to ask of Her Royal Highness. Of course, Mr. Villo. Everyone was confused after all. Accepting a request without hearing it was strange no matter how they looked at it. But after thinking about it for a while, Hagrid felt relieved. Wuming also looked at Princess Lana in confusion, then seemed to have thought of something. It seems that Her Royal Highness Lana values Sir Clem a lot. Princess Lana just smiled sweetly. Of course, after all, I like Clem the most. Clem's young face blushed when he heard that. Then, Her Royal Highness Lana is not afraid that I will make a request that will harm the kingdom? You must be joking. As I said before, I believe that Mr. Villo who saved His Excellency the Warrior is a good person. Wuming waved his hand. Forget about being a good person. I just thought that Gudjefu was a good person, so I helped him. That's enough. Lana smiled. My request is simple. If you have any business in the future, please consider me first. No one in the conference room spoke. A moment later. Is that all, Mr. Villo? Princess Lana asked. That's all. How about it, can you accept it? Okay, no problem. But with such a small request, you let me accept such a valuable treasure, Clem was still a little unbalanced. It's okay, Clem, just accept it. This is a reward for your determination to protect. Wu Ming smiled. Yes, Mr. Villo, I will live up to your expectations, and I will use it well. Clem accepted it quite solemnly. Looking at Rosetsong and the others present, Wu Ming looked at Princess Lana. Then that's it for today, I'll take my leave first. Wu Ming stood up. It's really a blessing to talk with you, Mr. Villo's thinking is really advanced. It couldn't be helped. Previously, Wu Ming was discussing business matters with Princess Lana. As they talked, the topic deviated from the main topic. They even talked about the country, policies and such. Wu Ming even expressed his own opinion, which made Princess Lana very surprised. After all, Wu Ming was a modern person, and his ideology and culture were definitely more advanced. Of course, Her Royal Highness Lana's opinion surprised me, as expected of the Golden Princess. After a while, Wu Ming and Annabelle began to leave. When they walked to the gate of the courtyard, one of Rosetsong who came to see them off suddenly shouted, Mr. Wu Ming. Wu Ming paused after hearing it, but he recovered in an instant and continued to walk forward. Wait a minute, Mr. Villo. Chapter 46. Wu Ming turned his head and looked at the person who spoke. What can I do for you, Miss Ibiruai? Ibiruai did not speak. Gejlin said quietly to Ibiruai, Hey, what's the matter, Ibiruai? Why did you suddenly stop him? Also, who is this Wu Ming that you called out earlier? After a pause, Ibiruai looked at her and said, Your Royal Highness, I would like to invite Sir Villo and Sir Gejef to join the plan. Hey, Ibiruai, Gejef is fine, but why do you want to invite the person you just met for the first time? Yes, Ibiruai, I don't agree with this idea. Wu Ming looked at her quietly and did not speak. It seems that Miss Vampire seems to know me. No, she knows Wu Ming. It shouldn't be. I just came to this world not long ago. How could she know me? I don't have a problem with Sir Villo, but Sir Villo has just met us, and I have received Sir Villo's favor. I really shouldn't bother Sir Villo. Princess Lana looked embarrassed. I don't have a problem with that, but let's talk about it tomorrow. Don't you have something to discuss? I will visit again tomorrow. Goodbye. Wu Ming and Annabelle left. Song Rose's leader, Hagis, asked Ibiruai. Ibiruai, what's going on? Why do you care so much about that man? It's okay, let's discuss Hachiko with Her Royal Highness first. After saying that, she went into the room, leaving a few people who didn't know what to do. On the other side, Annabelle walked behind Wu Ming and asked, Do we need to get rid of that woman? No, I really want to know where she knew my name. Wu Ming touched his chin and thought. Strictly speaking, that bottle of red healing potion, and the pressure I released to train Clem have the possibility of being exposed. But even if I'm exposed as Wu Ming, how did she know this name? That Wu Ming just now carries a lot of weight. Well, let's go back to the hotel first. I want to contact Yaerbird. Yes, Sir Wu Ming. After discussing with Princess Lana, Song Rose's group left the princess's house. On the way back, Gejlin began to ask, What's going on, Ibiruai? You're making us very worried. Hagis, Hina, and Tia also looked at Ibiruai. My apologies, I was just thinking of a benefactor of mine. Lord Varen. You look too much like him. Ibiruai replied. Feeling Ibiruai's loneliness, Song Rose's group sighed silently in their hearts. In the hotel, Wu Ming took out the scroll called Message, and was ready to contact Yaerbird. Message was a long-range communication spell, which could also be said to be a skill. There was such a spell in the library, but Wu Ming didn't learn it. Message. Wu Ming put his hand on his temple, and began to contact Yaerbird. Wu Ming-sama. Yaerbird, I have an accident here. Immediately recall Sebastian and Zaisha, and prohibit the members of Nasrik from going out. I'm very sorry, Wu Ming-sama. Zaisha betrayed us. What? Nazarik's underground tomb. A black and red circular hole appeared at the main entrance of Nazarik's surface. Wu Ming walked out of it. Annabelle was left in the Royal City Hotel by Wu Ming. Annabelle helped Wuming to refuse everything. The reason was that Wuming had some personal matters to deal with. Wuming stretched out his hand, and a ring appeared in his hand. After putting it on, Wuming launched instant transmission and disappeared. Between the thrones. Bird was standing next to the throne, waiting quietly. Wuming instantly appeared between the thrones. Seeing Wuming, Bird knelt on one knee. Wuming-sama. Get up quickly, Bird. What's going on with Zaisha's betrayal? Bird stood up, waved his hands in white silk gloves a few times in the air, and a crystal screen appeared in the air. Although Nasrik has been materialized, some mechanisms can still be digitized. For example, Bird pulled up the list of Nazarik's guardians. Seeing Zaisha Bradford's name in bright red, Wuming asked, "Is this the reason for Zaisha's betrayal?" "That's not the reason. When you left Nasarik, I told Zaisha and Sebastian to complete the information gathering as soon as possible. Zaisha has already returned ahead of time. However, when passing by Khan Village, Zaisha seemed to have encountered an enemy. After that, I couldn't contact her. That's why I checked the list of guardians and learned of Zaisha's betrayal." Wuming sat on the throne, looked at Zaisha's bright red name, which was different from the other guardians' white names, and fell into deep thought. If I'm not mistaken, the enemy should be from the Celian theocracy. I deduced the same thing when I discussed with Demiugos, but because of Lord Wuming's orders, I didn't send troops to Khan Village to check. Send the highest level assassin to the vicinity of Khan Village to check the situation. Understood. Yair Bedard left. A moment later, Yair Bedard returned to the throne. Lord Wuming, Zaisha is fully armed and stopped on the plains near Khan Village. We sent our subordinates to question her, but Zaisha didn't answer as if she was unconscious. Our initial judgment is that Zaisha is under mind control. To be able to affect the undead who are immune to mind control, the other party has at least a world-class item. Wuming analyzed after pondering for a moment. Wuming frowned. Although Wuming was much stronger than these level 100 NPCs, if he could control Zaisha's mind, Wuming did not dare to say that it was ineffective against him. The 8-limb blade assassin bugs didn't find an ambush in the vicinity, but we can't be sure that the other party isn't monitoring Zaisha. Yair Bedard, what's the solution to being under mind control with a world-class item? Yair Bedard thought for a moment before replying. I'm afraid the only solution is to kill Zaisha and revive her. However, I can't guarantee that she will recover after being revived. Wuming fell into deep thought. As expected, mental labor isn't suitable for me. Yair Bedard. Yes. Gather the guardians. I have something to say. Understood. Soon, a group of guardians gathered in the throne hall, including Sebastian, who had already returned. Dear guardians, I'm sure all of you know that Zaisha is under mind control. Wuming said calmly. I want to ask, do you have a way to remove the mind control on Zaisha without killing her? Chapter 47. Looking at the silent guardians, Wuming thought to himself. It seems that I can only kill Zaisha. I'm very sorry, Wuming-sama, we can't solve the problem for you. It's a crime worthy of death. Demiugos said in a serious tone. Don't say that, Demiugos. I'm too harsh. After all, that's the effect of a world-class item, and it's not so easy to remove. Wuming shook his head. First, I want to give you the world-class item. Wuming's words were shocking, and the guardians immediately knelt down and bowed their heads. Demiugos, you know the reason, right? Demiugos still knelt on one knee and bowed his head. Yes, Wuming-sama. Wuming-sama gave us the world-class item to prevent us from being affected by the enemy's world-class item. Wuming nodded. Demiugos is still smart. With that, Wuming waved his hand. A sword, a cup, a large scroll, and a pair of gloves appeared in the air and fell to the hands of Cositas, Yuri, Mare, and Demiugos. Because Yair already has the world-class item Infernal Abyss, I won't give you the world-class item this time. Yes, Wuming-sama. Yair said with a regretful look. The names of these 4 items are Blade of Billions, Cup of Zaisha, Mountain River Map, and Avarice and Desireless. I will tell you how to use them and their effects after the meeting. Thank you, Wuming-sama, for giving us these treasures. We will not hesitate to go through fire and water for you." Several people said at the same time. "One more thing, I'm going to fight Zeisha alone." "How can that be, Wuming-sama? Please think twice, Wuming-sama. Wuming-sama." Silence. Wuming shouted. "We can't be sure if the other party will suddenly use a teleportation spell to teleport over. Moreover, we can't guarantee our chances of victory if you guys go. Most importantly, you are like newborn children. I am someone who has accepted your loyalty. How can I let you kill each other? Lord Wuming, since you've already made your decision, as your subordinates, we shouldn't say anything more. However, please promise us that you'll return safely," Yurabade said. "I agree." In Wuming's bedroom, Wuming placed many props in front of him. "It feels like I'm raiding a dungeon. Seriously, how can someone like me, who has experienced many battles, be used to preparing for a one-on-one battle like a game?" As mentioned before, after Nasrik transformed into a physical body, he retained some of his digitized parts. For example, Nazarik's members could use magic to detect a target's HP and MP, and Yair Abed could also manage Nasrik through the system. Sure enough, it's more suitable for me to fight directly. Can I determine if there are any players on the other side? At the end of the meeting, Demiugos proposed that after a series of anti-teleportation spells, anti-detection spells, and other spells were placed near Satya, Wuming would fight Satya one-on-one. In Wuming's view, whether it was NPCs or players in Yggdrasil, their abilities were not strong. At least in Wuming's view, no one in Nasrik could defeat him without using special skills or items. The only hidden danger now was that he didn't know if the other party had any special items or skills. I can only say that it's a game. After all, without these special items or skills, the game would become boring. I guess so. After all, I don't play games very much. Wuming picked up the 2 rings in front of him and put them on his left and right fingers. The names of these 2 rings were Meteor Ring and Eternal Calamity Serpent Ring. Eternal Calamity Serpent Ring was one of the 20 world-class items. Because he wanted to guard against the opponent's world-class item effect, and because it was convenient to carry, Wuming chose this world-class item. In Yggdrasil World Tree, the effect was to make a wish to the game company, and the effect could be extended to the whole game. Of course, whether the content of the wish could be approved was another matter. After transforming into a physical body, the effect of the ring became Make a Wish, a real wish. However, because of the special effect of disappearing and randomly appearing in a corner of the world after using it, Wuming didn't dare to use it casually. At most, he would only use it when he was in danger. Meteor Ring, on the other hand, could cast the super magic Wish to the Stars unconditionally. The effect had 3 weakened versions of the wish skill, and there were many restrictions. After 3 wishes were made, there would be a long cooldown period. It could be said that it was an item that could determine the winner. After all, Wuming didn't have many ultimate skills. Other than Yggdrasil, and X-Silver, Meteor Silver, S-Noble Phantasm, Wuming had no other skills that could be considered as his ultimate skill. Enkidu has been sleeping since he first came to this world. Most of the magic Wuming learned couldn't be used as ultimate skills. After all, the magic stored in the library was either magic books with a limited number of times or written materials that couldn't be learned. The skills Wuming learned, such as Dragon Thunder and Heavenly Fire, were useful against the natives, but they didn't have much effect on Zeisha, a level 100 NPC. My head hurts. Sure enough, I still haven't learned it well, master. Wuming remembered his master, Skaha, who could kill a god with just a magic spear and his own martial arts. Sure enough, I'm still too inexperienced. My bloodline ability is basically harmless. For example, Wuming's Origin Dragon bloodline ability, time travel adaptability, powerful physique, endless magic power, and transformation effect of Calamity Dragon. Suddenly, Wuming felt a message in his mind. Wuming put his hand on his temple. What's wrong, Yair Bade? Master Wuming, some humans who look like adventurers are approaching Zeisha. Understood. Stay put, I'll go check the situation. Master Wuming, don't you need guards? No, to avoid misunderstandings, you can continue to hide near Zeisha. Yes, master. Wuming disconnected the communication and lay on the bed. When it rains, it pours. I hope those adventurers can retreat on their own. As the portal closed, Wuming appeared on the plain near Khan village. So, those are the adventurers who are approaching? Wuming looked at the adventurers coming toward him. Wuming took out Yggdrasil and threw it into the air. After a while, Funbaba appeared behind Wuming. Those adventurers also seemed to have seen Wuming and Funbaba, and they all stopped for a while. 3 people who seemed to be captains came over. Are you the captains of the adventurers who came to crusade against the vampire? Yes, I'm Parodi from Sirius. These 2 are Moknak from Rainbow and Igvaki from Kraugla. May I ask who you are? A young man with a determined look said. I'm the vampire's summoner. Because of an accident, I lost control. Please go back. This is not something you can intervene in. But even if you say so. Parodi had a troubled expression on his face. Don't waste your breath on him. Igvaki said. Who knows, maybe he's actually here to steal our credit. He thinks that he can do whatever he wants just because he has a good-looking magical beast. To be honest, Funbaba was not tall, and it looked gentle, but it did not mean that Funbaba would not kill. Funbaba raised its leg, and in an instant, a huge man-eating flower appeared at Igvaki's feet. In an instant, Igvaki was eaten by the man-eating flower before he could even make a sound. Parodi and Moknak put their hands on their weapons with a solemn expression. I'm in a bad mood. Persuading you to leave is for your own good. Do you have to make an example of me? Ah. Wu Ming released the aura of a giant dragon. The wind pressure caused by his aura overturned the adventurers in the distance, and Parodi and Moknak in front of him were unconscious. Wu Ming slowly retracted his aura. Ever since Silent Wonder turned into a dragon, he had mastered an invisible pressure similar to draconic aura. This could be considered a blessing in disguise. Looking at the hurried and orderly retreat, Wu Ming turned around and walked toward Satya. Chapter 48. Looking at Satya, who was wearing red armor and holding a strange spear, Wu Ming couldn't help but think of Satya's information. Fortunately, I checked Satya's information, equipment and skills before. I have to deal with Satya quickly. Satya's armor was legendary level armor, and her weapon was a divine artifact level special weapon, Dropper Spear. Dropper Spear could heal itself by inflicting damage to the opponent in a certain proportion, which could be said to be a miracle in a protracted battle. According to the information, Satya also had a resurrection item. In that case, I have to kill Satya twice. Sigh, I really don't want to experience killing my subordinates again. When Wu Ming was a knight, he once had a subordinate who was infected by a monster. At his subordinate's request, Wu Ming had to kill him. Wu Ming-sama, hearing that voice, Wu Ming looked at his arm. Enkidu, are you awake? Well, because Wu Ming-sama is upset, I woke up to see if there is any way to help you. I appreciate your kindness, but I don't think you can do anything about it. Wu Ming couldn't find any other way to remove Satya's mind control other than killing her. Wu Ming-sama, maybe I can give it a try. Oh really, little Enkidu? Wu Ming was so excited that he called out Wu Ming's pet name for Enkidu. Yes, Wu Ming-sama, I was originally a chain connecting heaven and earth. Of course, I have a way to break the chain. If possible, Wu Ming-sama can connect me to Satya, and I should be able to remove the negative effect. But little Enkidu, why didn't I know you have this ability? Wu Ming asked strangely. After all, Wu Ming was also a Uruk native, and he knew about the heaven lock. It's strange. After I came to this world with Wu Ming-sama, I began to change, which is why I fell into a deep sleep. I'm sorry, little Enkidu, there is no way to lift the curse on your body. When Enkidu was cursed by the gods, Wu Ming only took away Enkidu's soul, and his body was indeed dead. Therefore, Enkidu couldn't show his body, and could only accompany Wu Ming in the form of heaven lock. It's alright, Lord Wu Ming. Enki is very happy to be able to be tied to Lord Wu Ming like this. Wu Ming touched Enkidu hidden on his arm, and didn't say anything. Little Enkidu, my first battle in this world. Let's go. Yes. Wu Ming-sama. High-level item creation. A white light flashed, and a white armor appeared on Wu Ming's body. That was the silver dragon armor that Wuming used in Britain. Funbaba. Woo! Funbaba changed, and a silver-white spear flew in the air. As if it was calculated, Wuming stretched out his hand and firmly grabbed the spear. Yggdrasil. The silver-white spear slowly melted like liquid, attached to Wuming's left hand, forming a silver-white left-hand armor. Then Wuming stretched out his hand, and a white hole appeared on the right side of his body, and the hilt of a sword slowly came out of it. Wuming held the hilt with his right hand and pulled it out. The silver-white holy sword appeared in Wuming's right hand. Heavenly fire. The white flame attached to the silver holy sword. Then I'll start first, Satya. Wuming held the sword with both hands and raised it above his head. Although it was daytime, there was a trace of starlight in the sky, and the starlight began to gather on the sword. Yex silver meteor silver. The white holy sword gathered the light, and the moment the real name was shouted, the light overflowed. A huge silver-white beam of light rose into the sky, and the silver-white beam of light continued to expand, covering a few kilometers in an instant. 1/3 of the nearby forest was destroyed, and Khan village was almost affected. Gradually, the light disappeared, revealing the ground that was more than 10 meters deep as if it was baptized by a nuclear bomb. The guardians in the conference hall who watched with a long-end perspective mirror were surprised. It's comparable to the destructive power of supreme magic. As expected of Wuming-sama. Demiurgos pushed his glasses and said with a trembling voice, "That seems to be the attack launched by Wuming-sama's weapon. Is it a world-class item owned by Wuming-sama?" Cositas opened his mouth. Cositas, who had dozens of weapons, could clearly see that this wasn't Wuming's skill, but a weapon. Such a powerful blow. As expected of my lover, Wuming-sama, Bade did not show her infatuation side, but with a rather calm expression. Satya-sama shouldn't be able to withstand Wuming-sama's attack. It should be Wuming-sama's victory. Although Sebastian was a level 100 NPC, he still called the guardians Sama. Yuz and Mare, who were on the edge of a nearby cliff, were covered in dust. Phew, that was close, we were almost finished. Wuming-sama is really powerful, isn't he, sister? That's right. If Yuz and Mare had not activated their special skills in time, they might have ended up like Satya. Wuming looked at X Silver, Meteor Silver, and scratched his head awkwardly. I accidentally used too much magic power, ha 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 ha. What should I say, Lord Wuming? Enkidu, who was on Wuming's left arm, sighed. I can't help it. Ever since I turned back into a dragon, I haven't used my noble artifact. Who knew that its power would increase so much? This was also the bloodline advantage of the root dragon, the qualitative increase in magic power. The same magic power, but the current one was much purer than before. She should be fine. Satya. Just as Wuming was discussing Satya, a burst of laughter was heard. Ha 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 ha, isn't this Lord Wuming? As expected of the supreme Wuming, Lord Wuming, who killed me instantly. Fortunately, I still have a resurrection item. Lord Wuming, ha 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 ha. Sure enough, I've already killed Satya once. What a big mistake. Since I turned into a dragon, the quality of my magic power has greatly improved. Coupled with the bonus of the Tier 9 spell, Heavenly Fire, the power of X Silver's noble artifact is really amazing. Wuming shook his head and looked at Satya with his eyes hidden under the helmet. I'm sorry, Satya. I accidentally killed you. No, Lord Wuming. You don't need to apologize, because you just need to let me kill you. Ha ha ha. Looking at Satya, who was laughing wildly, Wuming couldn't help but think. Is he really mentally ill? If that's the case. Shaolin. Yes. The silver chain appeared on Wuming's left gauntlet, and the chain seemed to be endless, shooting toward Satya. Such a simple attack, Lord Wuming. Why did you use it? Satya instantly used the flying ability of her armor to avoid the entanglement of Enkidu. Is that so, Satya? What about this? The sound of chains colliding could be heard as white holes similar to spatial doors appeared in the air around Satya, surrounding her. Greater teleport. Don't even think about it. Wuming was already prepared. Wuming instantly tore the scroll from Dragonist. What? Greater teleport doesn't work. Is it dimensional lock? Yes, it's dimensional lock that can restrain teleport. Enkidu. In an instant, Enkidu extended from each white space and bound Satya. Damn it. Einherjar. As Satya chanted the spell, a white light flew out of Satya's body. After the white light took shape, it was a figure exactly the same as Satya, but this figure was completely white. Einherjar summoned by this skill only had the physical ability of the original body, and it could not use magic or skills. Einherjar rushed toward Wuming, but Satya knew very well that Einherjar was no match for Wuming. Struggling to break free from Enkidu, Satya activated magic essence and began to check Wuming's magical power. What she saw was a huge amount of magical power gushing out like a bottomless pit. As expected of the supreme being of the great underground tomb of Nasarek, you can be said to be an invincible existence, Lord Wuming. On the other side, Wuming activated another noble phantasm. Noble phantasm liberation, Yggdrasil. A large number of branches quickly grew from Wuming's left hand, entangling Satya's Einherjar. Absorb Yggdrasil. The Einherjar gradually faded until it completely disappeared. So, what should you do now, Satya? Chapter 49. Wuming-sama, what kind of artifact is this chain of yours? I even used impure impact shield, but I still couldn't break your shackles. Although she said that, Zaisha's expression was very anxious. Enkidu, let's start. Try to get in touch with Satya's mind control. Yes, Master Wuming. The silver-white chain wrapped around Satya began to glow, and Satya struggled and screamed in pain. Listening to Satya's screams, Wuming couldn't help but clench his fists. Although Wuming hadn't been in charge of Nasarek for long, not even a month, Wuming was very fond of his subordinates, who were like newborn babies. Since he gained benefits, he had to bear the responsibility. That was what Wuming thought when he became the ruler of Nasarek. Now, Wuming has regarded the people of Nasarek as his family, friends, and children. Wuming called it a trip, and to put it bluntly, he was homeless. Although it was a short time, compared to living in the strange outside world, Nasarek, which was full of monsters, gave Wuming a sense of belonging. After all, Wuming was not human. After a while, Satya fainted, and the chain stopped glowing. How is it, little Enkidu? Should be okay. Wuming heard Enkidu's voice and felt something was wrong, so he quickly asked. What's wrong, little Enkidu? Are you okay? I'm fine, Master Wuming. I'm still not used to the changes in Enkidu, plus I force myself to wake up before. I might fall asleep again. Sorry, Master Wuming. It's okay, little Enkidu, you don't have to apologize. I'm really lucky to have you by my side. Enkidu didn't say anything else. Sensing the weakening of Enkidu's mana, Wuming knew that Enkidu had fallen asleep again. Wuming jumped up and hugged the unconscious Satya. He stroked Satya's face and said, Go to sleep, everything will be fine. As if she had heard him, Satya's slightly nervous face gradually relaxed. Nasarek conference room. As expected, Sir Wuming's victory is beyond doubt. Cositas exhaled a breath of cold air as he spoke. It seems that I don't need to prepare materials for Satya's revival. As expected of Lord Wuming. Dimigos adjusted his glasses. Regardless of whether Wuming had come into contact with Satya's mind control, he had already captured Satya alive, so there was no need to prepare for her resurrection. Then, let's welcome the master that we will serve forever, guardians, said Yerbade. Pardon my rudeness, but I won't be going. I have to prepare food for the returning Lord Wuming. I remember that Lord Wuming strongly requested not to eat potatoes last time. I have to inform the chef. With that, Sebastian bowed and left. Wuming landed on the ground with the unconscious Satya in his arms. He looked at Yal and Malay who were walking toward him. I'm sorry, Yal Malay. I didn't hurt you just now, did I? It's okay. I didn't expect Lord Wuming, who had been keeping a low profile in Nasarek, to be so powerful. And powerful. And gentle. Wuming smiled and shook his head. I'm still far from that. You must know that no matter what, there's no end to it. To be honest, Wuming didn't expect a noble artifact to be so powerful. After all, Wuming didn't use a noble artifact many times. The few times that he did, it was because his opponent also used a noble artifact or because his opponent was unmatched without a noble artifact. Thinking about it carefully, it wasn't strange. Noble artifacts were known as the trump cards of heroic spirits. Putting aside the strength of heroic spirits, just the word trump card showed the importance of a noble artifact. By the way, y'all. Wuming looked at y'all and asked, the anti-detection magic is working, right? Yes, Lord Wuming. Although Lord Wuming's attack destroyed most of the magic, I repaired it in time, so there's no problem. Then, as if he thought of something, Wuming said to Malay, don't make any changes to the traces of the battle here. It can serve as a deterrent. Yes. Yes. Lord Wuming. Then let's go. Yes, Lord Wuming. X2. Between the thrones in the audience hall, Yerbade, Demiugos, Cositas, Sebastian, and the others had been waiting for a long time. Wuming carried Xiataya while the Dark Elf twins followed behind him. Lord Wuming, congratulations on your victorious return. Looking at the guardians, including the twins, who were kneeling on one knee, Wuming said, rise, guardians. Yes, Lord Wuming. Yerbade, check Xiataya's status. Yes, Lord. Yerbade slid his finger in the air and opened a virtual window. Yerbade slid his finger. When he saw Xiataya's name turn from red to white, he heaved a sigh of relief. There's no problem, Lord Wuming. Xiataya's name has turned white. How about this? Bring Xiataya to the room on the 9th floor to rest. During this time, arrange for many monsters above level 90 to guard her, and set up many magic traps to prevent Xiataya from going berserk. This, Lord Wuming, to let the servants step into the residence of the supreme beings. Yerbade had an inappropriate expression. It's fine. The other supreme beings won't blame you. Carry out the order. Yes, Lord. Speaking of which, it was strange. Ever since Wuming came to Nasarek, the 9th floor of Nazarek's underground graveyard had been deserted. No, it should be said that this was more befitting of the graveyard's name. In fact, there were quite a lot of people on the 9th floor. There were 41 level 1 android maids, as well as a group of service staff in bars, restaurants, and hot springs. However, these people only moved around in their own areas and never came out. Thus, only the guardians were left to move around freely. In fact, it was also because each floor of Nasarek was too big. Perhaps it was because Wuming and Nasarek had temporarily fused. Nasarek was not as big as the information indicated. Instead, it was much bigger than the information indicated. Other than the surface of Nasarek, which did not change much, the 1st to 10th floors of Nasarek had expanded a lot. According to Wuming's speculation, the largest floor was even comparable to the size of a city. I'm a little tired. Let's go back and rest. Sebastian, is the food ready? Of course, Lord Wuming. It's all ready. I also specially told the chef to reject all potato products. Speaking of potatoes, Wuming recalled the fear of being dominated by Gawain in Britain. Well done, Sebastian. For the supreme beings, I won't hesitate. Following the conversation, Wuming and Sebastian stepped into the restaurant. Chapter 50. Wuming looked at the ceiling as he lay on the bed and covered himself with a blanket. Seriously, it's tough being the ruler of Nasarek. Is that why I can't be a king? Because of Satya's incident, Wuming fell into deep thought. Well, I finally know the difficulties of Maeve, Lia, and Gil. Wuming raised his right hand and looked at the ring of Ains Wurgong on his finger. Ains Wurgong. I'm now the king of the devil creatures. To think that I, the Holy Root Dragon, have become the king of the devil creatures. Not bad, he. Wuming put down his hand and closed his eyes. Sleep, sleep. I must fully enjoy this beautiful moment. Just like that, Wuming fell asleep under the protection of the devil creatures. The next day, in the audience hall between the thrones, looking at the empty hall, Wuming spoke in boredom. In that case, although Satya's mind control has been lifted, there's still a trace of a problem? Wuming sat on the throne and leaned sideways against the back of the throne. He supported his face with his right hand and looked as if he had not slept well. It's called a problem, but it's just that after Satya woke up, she remembered that she fought against the Supreme Honorable and felt ashamed. Wyrm said. In that case, give Satya an appropriate punishment. Wuming scratched his cheek. As expected of the Supreme Honorable, our master is a great being who rewards and punishes clearly. Wyrm knelt on one knee and placed his right hand on his heart. Get up, Wyrm. Speaking of which, does Satya have any information on the enemy? Even the slightest bit would be good. At this point, Wuming's lazy gaze became like a terrifying beast and emitted a dangerous aura. Yes, Lord Wuming. Because of your special item, Satya still retains her original memory. In the report submitted by Satya, it is very likely that the other party is from Celian theocracy. Wyrm stood up and crossed his hands on his abdomen. The other party appeared near Khan village where Lord Wuming dealt with Sunshine Grimoire, and according to Satya, the other party is a faith magic chanter. In addition, the other party has a world-class item that we don't know about that can even affect the undead who are immune to mind control. The other party is probably a special unit of Celian theocracy, the Dark Grimoire. The Dark Grimoire? It seems to be mentioned in the information extracted from the Sunshine Grimoire's Captain Negan. Wuming looked at Wyrm. 600 years ago, the six gods suddenly appeared, led human beings to establish a country, protected human beings, and left behind treasures. Wuming stood up and stretched his body. Maybe the so-called six great gods are actually Yggdrasil's players, and the so-called treasure is actually Yggdrasil's item. If that's the case, then it's not unacceptable that the other party has a world-class item that can even control a level 100 NPC's mind. Wuming stood in front of the throne with his hands on his chest and closed his eyes as if he was thinking about something. Well, let Sebastian go and meet with Annabelle. Sebastian will announce to the public that he is my butler. Well, let Sebastian and Annabelle work together to help Golden Princess and Rose Tsangwei. If necessary, they can show their strength without revealing Nazarik's information. Yes, Lord Wuming. So that's how it is. Lord Wuming wants to control that country? It seems that I have to discuss it with Demiurgos. Wyrm thought. Also, let Demiurgos and Wyrm go to the southwest of the kingdom. There is a country called Holy Kingdom there. Try to get involved with that country, and let Demiurgos act according to the circumstances. Try not to be too ostentatious. As for the humans you meet, don't hurt those with integrity. Deal with the scum on your own. Yes, Lord Wuming, do you have any other orders? Wyrm asked. Well, Sebastian is in charge of everything in the kingdom, including killing people. You must follow Sebastian's judgment. Demiurgos is in charge of everything in the Holy Kingdom. Try not to kill people. Yes, Lord Wuming, I will pass the message. After Wyrm left, Wuming also began to move. Celian theocracy, I'll meet you. Wuming once again showed that kind of excited smile. This time, Wuming was going to go to the theocracy alone. Because he was afraid that Wyrm would object, Wuming didn't even say anything. As for the reason for going to the theocracy, first, he must ask for an explanation about Satya's matter. Second, Wuming was now very interested in the Celian theocracy. To be on the safe side, Wuming also deliberately pulled up the information in his mind to see if there were any world-class items with special abilities. On the Kaz plain, a huge green monster was running constantly. Wuming rode on the back of Funbaba. Sigh, I'm sorry to always let you be my means of transportation, Funbaba. Woo. Yes, I know, I will let you move more in the future. After crossing the Kaz plain, Wuming entered the theocracy's border. After a series of inspections, Wuming successfully entered the Celian theocracy. After inquiring about the location of the Celian theocracy's capital from the old man, he rushed there. In a hotel in the Celian theocracy's capital, Wuming was still looking through some of the information in his mind. World's will. It is said that as long as you have it, you will always become stronger. Is it true or not? Devastating beauty can forcibly control one's mind. Well, it seems that this should be what controlled Satya. Holy Slayer's lance can completely delete the target character's data. There is no other way except for using world-class items with resurrection effect. This is more dangerous. After all, I don't know if this thing has any effect on me. Just when Wu Ming was still thinking, a large number of people with a trace of hostility appeared in Wu Ming's perception range. Ha! Did they find me so soon? As expected of the Xi Lian theocracy with world-class items. In fact, Wu Ming didn't hide his aura at all. Even ordinary people will find that Wu Ming has a sense of oppression, let alone the elites who can stay in the capital. Since they are already here, I have to go out and meet them. Wu Ming got up and walked downstairs slowly. On the empty street where the crowd has been evacuated, Wu Ming put on the knight's armor that he created with high-grade item creation, and looked at the other party's leader hidden under the helmet. It was a young man with a gun, who seemed to be a teenager. So, what can I do for you? Wu Ming asked. Excuse me, are you Wu Ming-sama, Root Dragon King? Chapter 51. Hearing the other party's question, Wu Ming did not answer, but fell into deep thought. What's going on? Not only did Irbiruai know that Wu Ming was looking for someone, but he also suspected that I'm Wu Ming. The people in the theocracy also know, but I just arrived in this world not long ago. Wu Ming looked at the young man who asked the question in front of him. What about you? Who are you? Wu Ming declined the other party's question implicitly. I'm the lead disciple of Dark Scripture in Xilian Theocracy. Codename is Dark Scripture, Wu Ming-sama. Seeing the other party bowed politely, Wu Ming spoke again. So, Dark Boy, you know about the vampire near Yolanta, right? Yes, Wu Ming-sama, we found it when we passed by there, and we lost 3 people because of it. Very well, that's my subordinate. Don't you want to explain? Dark Scripture's lead disciple clearly perceived that the other party was constantly exuding a dragon-like pressure to the surroundings. I'm sorry, Wu Ming-sama, because you disappeared for too long, so we don't know much about your new subordinate. Please forgive us. New subordinate? Do I have any old subordinates? Wu Ming's expression did not change at all, but his heart was already in a mess. Okay, then take my blow. As he spoke, Wu Ming took out X silver, meteor silver, from Dragonist, Dragon's Nest, and raised it above his head with one hand. In an instant, a large amount of starlight gathered from the endless blue sky into the sword. Wu Ming-sama, please calm down. The lead disciple shouted nervously at Wu Ming, and the young man's subordinates also picked up their weapons, although they didn't have much effect. At the same time, they also sent a message to the higher-ups of Xilian Theocracy. Take this sword that's comparable to supreme magic, and I will leave. With that, the light on the holy sword stopped gathering. Shine. Meteor. X-silver, meteor silver. The dazzling diamond-like starlight instantly drowned out the pitch-black scripture, and also drowned out the tall building in the center of the capital that Wu Ming was aiming at, the main church. A large number of citizens of the Xi Lian cult's capital were temporarily blinded by the bright starlight. A moment later, after the white light, the pitch-black cannon and the large number of theocracy personnel in front of Wu Ming had disappeared. However, Wu Ming did not feel the sacred sword sweeping past them. He assumed that the sacred sword had used a legendary spell. Looking at the dilapidated Syrian church, Wu Ming said calmly, "Can you defend against one of my attacks? Although I didn't use much strength." With that, Wu Ming turned around and prepared to leave the capital of the Xi Lian cult. Due to Wu Ming's deliberate control, other than the street and the church in front of Wu Ming being destroyed, the residential buildings were not damaged at all. As expected, due to the release of my dragon body in advance, the precision of my magic power control has increased by quite a bit. Wu Ming took out Yggdrasil and aimed it at the sky. A green energy began to spread throughout the entire capital of the Xi Lian cult. No matter what, it's because of me that you have all been indirectly blinded. I'm really sorry. A large amount of life force was injected into the bodies of all the citizens in the capital. This should be enough. It's time to go. At that moment, Wu Ming felt that something had locked onto him. Wu Ming turned around and saw a huge light spear flying out from the destroyed church. Wu Ming frowned. He could feel the threat of the light spear, but it was not serious. A world-class tool? A large number of thick trees surged up from the ground and formed a wooden wall. The light spear pierced through the wooden wall layer by layer without any decrease in strength. The light spear completely pierced through the wooden wall and hit Wuming directly. The light spear turned into a light film, enveloping Wuming, and Wuming's body began to disappear. Just when the Xi Lian cult's higher-ups hiding in the ruins of the church relaxed, the light film shattered. The shattered light turned into a little golden light and dissipated into the air. This should be the Holy Slayer's lance. Wuming looked at his hand that was not wearing a single ring and smiled. Sure enough, even without a world-class tool, a mere game tool can't destroy me as the root dragon. After all, the adult root dragon's roots and time were its home. How could a mere tool transformed from a game into reality affect Wuming? Even if Wuming was an underage root dragon, Wuming looked at the Xi Lian cult's higher-ups as if he could see through the wall. So here comes the revenge. Wuming raised Yggdrasil and wanted to release its real name. At that moment, Wuming seemed to hear something and put away Yggdrasil. You're lucky. After saying that, Wuming left the capital of Xi Lian cult without looking back, leaving behind a group of confused residents who felt as if they were in a dream and a group of terrified higher-ups. After Wuming left the capital of Xi Lian cult, he immediately moved to the northwest. After tearing the flight scroll, Wuming flew into the sky and flew toward the Ristage kingdom. Soon Wuming arrived at the sky above the kingdom, but Wuming did not stop and continued to move toward the northwest of the kingdom. That was the most northwest country on the continent, known as the Grand Kingdom. It was a country built by the demi-humans, located in the north of the Ristage kingdom, northwest of the continent. It had a long history and strong national power. It was said that there were 5 or 7 dragons as counselors. The reason Wuming returned here was because someone had sent a message to Wuming through message magic. Come to the Grand Kingdom, partner. I will tell you everything you have doubts about. Wuming sensed the message and map left behind by the other party and arrived at a cave. After entering the cave, Wuming found a teleportation magic circle in the deepest part of the cave. Wuming activated the magic circle. After a flash of white light, Wuming found himself in a large palace, as if he had been in the palace of Babylon. And on a huge platform in front of Wuming, a huge white dragon was lying on it. Are you the one who called me? The dragon raised its head and looked at Wuming. Sure enough, you don't know me at this time, partner. Judging by your tone, we are very close, Wuming asked. Ha ha ha, of course, we are partners who have gone through life and death together. No, master. This surprised Wuming. Then let me guess, is it because of the time travel magic? As expected of you, partner. According to the you I know, you came from 700 years later. 700 years later? Wuming was puzzled. As far as I know, the 6 great gods from 600 years ago, the 8 desires king from 500 years ago, the demon god from 200 years ago, and the 13 heroes should all be transmigrators. The dragon said to Wuming. Yes, that's right. You told me that back then. And there were other transmigrators 400 years ago, 300 years ago, and 100 years ago, but their strength and character were inferior, and they were all destroyed by us. Wuming looked at the dragon. This is really interesting. What about me? Did I leave? To be precise, you left 100 years ago. Except for the era of the 6 great gods, the 8 desires king, and the 13 heroes when you woke up, the rest of the time you were asleep because you were about to leave your childhood. Oh, then I'm going to be an adult. Wuming was a little excited. After all, the root dragon's childhood was too long ago. The dragon smiled. No, you've entered your youth. That's what you said yourself. For a moment, Wuming felt like the world was joking. Let's not talk about this first. Why did you stop me from destroying the silent theocracy? And why did you call me here today? To tell me my future? Unfortunately, you guessed wrong. Neither. There was a smug smile on the dragon's face. It was an expression of, you finally have something you can't guess. I'm going to return the uninscribed book to you today. Chapter 52. Uninscribed Incantation Book. Wuming was puzzled. Yes, This is what you entrusted me to give to you now when I first met you, partner. The dragon opened its mouth, and a glowing sphere flew out of the dragon's mouth. It was a book, a slightly quaint and mysterious book with black and red decorations. Wuming looked at the book with some disgust. Will it have your bad breath? The dragon instantly felt powerless. Hurry up and take it, and then hurry up. Really, I'm going to sleep. Wu Ming held the book and watched as the giant dragon lowered its head. It was as if it had fallen asleep, and did not make a sound. What a strange temper, no wonder it sleeps alone in this broken place. When Silent Wonder saw the word V appear above the dragon's head, he stood on the teleportation array and left the area. After a while, the dragon raised its head and looked at the teleportation circle where Wu Ming left. What a mysterious master. After that, it fell asleep again. Walking out of the cave, Wu Ming looked at the two of them reading the book in their hands, and he didn't know what they were thinking. By the way, I haven't asked the dragon's name yet. Forget it, let's talk about it later. Anyway, I will definitely meet it again. Portal. Wu Ming directly opened the portal connecting to Nasaric and walked in. The portal's range must be a place he has been to, or a place he has seen, or an image in his mind, otherwise it couldn't be used. But in a sense, the portal was also a unique skill. After all, as long as there was an image of that place in his mind, he could teleport at will, which could be regarded as a bug-like skill. Back to the 10th floor of Nasaric. Between the throne, in the audience hall. Walking out of the portal, Wu Ming sat on the throne, opened the uninscribed incantation book given by the dragon, and began to read the book. This book would turn to a specific page according to the user's thoughts. That was to say, the user didn't need to turn the pages by himself. Shortly after Wu Ming read it, the door of the audience hall opened. As the door opened, a large number of Nasaric personnel poured into the audience hall. This gave Wu Ming a fright. Lord Wu Ming. Lord Wu Ming, where have you been? Lord Wu Ming, we were very worried about you. Looking at the worried expressions of the guardians, Wu Ming sighed. I'm sorry for going out without telling you. It's my fault for making you worry. Wu Ming's apology made the guardians and the magical creatures they brought in tremble. They quickly knelt on one knee and lowered their heads. How could that be? Lord Wu Ming, we spoke rudely to you but you didn't punish us. Instead, you apologized to us. This is the fault of us guardians. Please punish us, Lord Wu Ming. Wyrm said. Please punish us, Lord Wu Ming. The other guardians and monsters said in unison. Wu Ming smiled helplessly. These guys were good at everything, but they were too loyal. They couldn't tolerate any disrespect to him. Then our previous mistakes will cancel each other out. Looking at Wyrm, who seemed to want to object, Wu Ming said again, It's settled, no objections. Yes, Lord Wu Ming. So, Wu Ming picked up the uninscribed book in his hand and ordered everyone in front of him. Guardians, gather in the conference room. The rest of you are free to do whatever you want. Yes, Lord Wu Ming. A moment later, in the conference room, Wu Ming sat on the office chair, supporting his head with his right hand on the large desk. Sebastian. Yes, Lord Wu Ming. Sebastian bent over and put his hand on his heart. How is the kingdom's situation? Master Wu Ming, the thing that Golden Princess wanted to ask you to do is to eradicate Hachiko, an underground organization that integrates smuggling, drugs, slave trading, assassinations, bodyguards, and other activities. It is said that they have infiltrated the kingdom. After seeing the power of Nasaric, Golden Princess and Rose Tsangwei entrusted me and Annabelle to eliminate Hachiko. They offered a high price, and with your permission, I helped them eliminate Hachiko. Sebastian looked at Wu Ming and said, Actually, Lord Wu Ming, there is one thing I didn't ask for your permission. It's okay, Sebastian, you can say it now. Wu Ming crossed his hands and put them on his chin. I saved a girl during the crusade against Hachiko, and I want to take her back to Nasaric. Oh, did she agree? Wu Ming asked. Yes, Lord Wu Ming, she has no home. Although she still has a younger sister, she doesn't want to remember the past because of psychological reasons. She also asked you to let Qialiai live in Nasaric. I agree, Sebastian, but how about letting her be a maidservant? It's all up to Lord Wu Ming, Sebastian said. That's it. Sebastian, you will convey the message to Chialii, and at the same time, inform all Nasaric. I now appoint Chialii as Sebastian's personal maidservant, and at the same time, revoke your position as the captain of the Pleiades star cluster, and let Li Alpha be the acting captain. Yes, Lord Wuming. Thank you for your generosity, Lord Wuming. Sebastian bowed deeply. Also, I'll arrange something for you later. That's all for now. Demiurgos, how are you doing in the Holy Kingdom? Yes, Lord Wuming. I set up a farm at the border of the Holy Kingdom. I caught a large number of animals to test the scroll, and the result was very successful. Demiurgos knelt on one knee and said to Wuming, Animals? Well, Demiurgos, your demons should be able to see the good and evil in people's hearts. Let go of the good and keep the evil. Understand? Wuming thought for a moment, and realized that Demiurgos was talking about animals. After all, Wuming never heard of a large number of demonic beasts near the Holy Kingdom. There were only many types of demi-humans. Of course, Lord Wuming, because you like humans and good people, I deliberately avoided these people when I caught them. Demiurgos pushed his glasses. Well done, Demiurgos, get up. As a reward, I will give you this. At the moment when Demiurgos got up, Wuming threw the ring of Ans Ergong to Demiurgos. This is the ring of Ans Ergong. Lord Wuming, this is a supreme treasure that only the Supreme One can wear. How can I? Well, Demiurgos, accept it. This is your reward, understand? Yes, Lord Wuming. I will go through fire and water for Nasaric in the future. Well, y'all, I heard that you found a lizardman village on the way back. Yes, Lord Wuming. Y'all raised his hand and said. Then Cocytus. Yes, Lord. Cocytus exhaled cold air. Although the lizardmen are useless to Nasaric, I want to see your ability, Cocytus. You will go and subdue the lizardmen. Yes, Lord Wuming. I will complete your task. But remember, you and your men don't fight in the first battle. I will send some soldiers to follow you. Only these soldiers can be used in the first battle. Remember? Yes, Lord Wuming. Mayor. Yes, Lord Wuming. Well, you go and cancel Nazaric's external camouflage. I will provide you with a magic array. You can use the magic on this magic array to camouflage Nasaric. After that, Wuming opened the uninscribed book. As Wuming thought, the book turned automatically and stopped at a certain page. High-level item creation. A blueprint with a high-level camouflage magic array appeared in front of Wuming. I'll leave it to you, Mayor. Yes, I will not let Lord Wuming down. Then, Satya. Yes, Lord. Seeing Satya's sad face, Wuming said, I've decided to punish you. Chapter 53. Hearing the punishment, Satya's face lit up. As for the specifics, we'll talk about it later. This confused Satya. Yair-Abed. Wuming turned to look at Yair-Abed. Yes, Lord Wuming. Wuming took out another ring of Anziwergong and handed it to Yair-Abed. Lord Wuming, you. Although he was happy that Wuming gave him the precious ring of Anziwergong, Yair-Abed was puzzled. After all, he did not make any contributions. I've decided to leave Nasaric temporarily and head to the other world. So, I've decided to give you this ring to manage Nasaric while I'm away. How can that be, Lord Wuming? You should let my protectors lead the way to the other world. Yair-Abed shouted. That's right, Lord Wuming. It's too dangerous for you to go personally, Demiurgos added. Seeing the worried expressions of the protectors, Wuming smiled. There's no helping it. I'm the only one who can traverse worlds with the staff of Anziwergong. At most, I can bring 1 or 2 people. So, I can only be the vanguard. Of course, that was a lie. The staff of Anziwergong only had the ability to bring people. Traversing worlds was Wuming's ability as the origin dragon. In that case, Lord Wuming should bring me along. As the person with the highest defense in Nasaric, I can definitely protect Lord Wuming, Yair-Abed said. No, I've already confirmed the number of people. It's Satya and Sebastian. What? Satya and Sebastian were stunned. Then they immediately knelt before Wuming. Your subordinates will do our best to live up to Lord Wuming's expectations and accept this punishment. Both Zaisha and Sebastian treated this as a punishment. Rise everyone. It's not without reason that I brought Satya and Sebastian along. The reason for bringing Satya along was firstly that Satya's ability was outstanding among the Guardians. She could be said to be one of the best. Secondly, it was to punish her. On the other hand, Sebastian's fighting ability is unparalleled, and his identity as a butler can easily conceal us. After all, I don't really need too much defense. As a root dragon, my defense has always been very high. Although saying this would make Wyrm sad, Wuming really didn't want to bring Wyrm along. Now that you're here, my trip has become a trip to hell. Wyrm and Demiurgos did not speak. Seeing that the two think tanks did not speak, the other Guardians did not have any intention of speaking either. It's decided then. Also, I'll inform Pandora Yakut to leave the treasury. No one can invade that place. I'll let her play my role while I'm not in Nasarek. If there's anything, Wyrm and Demiurgos can discuss it with Pandora. That's it. The meeting is over. Zaisha and Sebastian will stay behind. The rest of you can leave. Yes, Lord Wuming. Everyone shouted in unison. Before Wyrm, who was the last to leave, left, Wuming said, I hope you can use this ring well. I hope you can make good use of this ring. When I return, I will see a more perfect Nasarek. Just like that, Wyrm left with an excited expression. Wuming exhaled and looked at Zaisha. In that case, Zaisha, you have to be prepared to stay in the staff of Ains Ergong for a long time. Go and prepare your bed. A moment later, Zaisha left the meeting room with an indescribable expression. Sebastian, you might not be able to see Kialii for a long time. Forgive me for breaking up your reunion with Kialii, Wuming said apologetically. How could that be? Master Wuming, to be able to serve by your side, let alone a punishment, in my opinion, this is the best reward for me, Sebastian Dean, Sebastian said solemnly. Well, I'll give you some money. Go shopping with Kialii and buy something. Let her enjoy the days with you first. This is also my greeting to the new member of Nasarek. With that said, Wuming took out a bag of gold coins and put it in front of Sebastian. Thank you very much, Lord Wuming. Sebastian put away the money bag and bowed to Wuming. Go, I'll inform you when it's time to leave. It should be in 5 days. Yes, Lord Wuming. Click. With the sound of the door closing, Wuming was the only one left in the meeting room. Well, it's time to meet Pandora. Teleport. Wuming activated the ability of Anziergong's ring and arrived in front of the treasure vault. Walking into the treasure vault, Wuming came to a room similar to a luxurious living room. On the sofa in this room, a skeleton wearing a gorgeous blue-black mage robe was sitting on it. It was a dead mage. Who will it be this time? Pandora Yakut's race was a double phantom, which was the same race as Annabelle. However, Annabelle's race was only level 1, which meant that she could only transform into one appearance, which was Annabelle's current appearance. Pandora Yakon's race ability was level 41, which meant she could transform into 41 appearances. Because of Pandora's special skill, the appearance Pandora transformed into could have 80% of the original's ability. Pandora's current appearance was one of Anziergong's 41 players, and Pandora's 41 targets were Anziergong's 41 players. If she wanted to transform into another person, she had to give up one of the 41 players she had cloned. However, Wuming asked for a spell to make up for the double phantom transformation ability in the uninscribed spell book. Using a special spell to record the character's information that had been cloned and save it on a special paper, so that the character's transformation ability could be transferred from one's own skill to a special container, and then continue to copy other characters' information to transform into that person's appearance. Wu Ming, on the other hand, had already prepared the special paper. Oh, Lord Wuming, welcome. The appearance of the dead great magician in front of him gradually changed, turning into a strange humanoid with completely white skin, wearing a German military uniform and a military cap. He had no facial features. In the position of the facial features, there were some holes as the representation of the facial features. Pandora, I have something to tell you. After briefly explaining Wu Ming's idea, and the special paper Wu Ming took out, Pandora instantly understood. Understood. Lord Wu Ming, leave it to me, I will turn you into a hero. Don't worry. Looking at Pandora, who was performing a German military salute, Wu Ming was a little helpless. Don't act like you're a real hero. Try not to interact with others. It's best if you're unpredictable. I'll pass on the memories and conversations of acquaintances to you. Do your best. I know you can do it. In Nasaric, your wisdom is no less than Demiurgo's. Understood. Lord Wu Ming. Looking at Pandora, who was making a strange sound and performing a military salute, Wu Ming couldn't help but think. Am I doing the right thing? Chapter 54. After telling Pandora everything, Wu Ming left the treasury. Back in the conference room, Wu Ming decided to read the uninscribed book more. After all, it will automatically record the magic of the world. After reading the book in the conference room for a few days, Wu Ming closed the book and stretched. I'm so tired. Although I don't have to eat, I still have to sleep. With that said, Wu Ming used the ring of Ain's Wugong to go to his bedroom. Lying on the bed, Wu Ming recalled everything he did in this world. I'll tell them the truth. I'm not the Supreme Lord they used to be loyal to. After all, Wu Ming also indirectly deceived the Guardians. Even if the Guardians didn't care, Wu Ming still felt uncomfortable. After all, I'm the root dragon. How can I do such a thing? It's a disgrace to my bloodline. After thinking about it, Wu Ming shook his head again. Of course not. If I tell them the truth, with their sense of justice, they might take revenge on the Supreme Lord who abandoned them. Well, I still have to think about it carefully. After a while, Wu Ming's door was knocked. Come in. Sorry to disturb you, Wu Ming-sama. The succubus in a white dress walked into Wu Ming's bedroom. Belle, what are you doing here? In short, Wu Ming still couldn't deal with this crazy woman. It's like this, Wu Ming-sama, because of your actions in this world, the Guardians and I have specially provided you with some items that may be useful. Belle stretched out her hand, and a dark purple ripple appeared in the air. That ripple can be understood as a backpack, which was the storage space for items in the game. Belle took out a backpack from it. The moment she took it out, Wu Ming recognized it. It was an infinite backpack. Wu Ming took it and checked the items in the bag. Really? I've already taken some useful items from Nazaric's treasure vault. Let's do this. Wu Ming took out some items that he didn't have or didn't have the same effect as Belle. He opened a golden hole in the air and put those items inside. As for the remaining items in the infinite backpack, Wu Ming threw them back to Belle. That golden ripple was an extension of Wu Ming's space noble artifact, Dragonist, Dragon's Nest. Previously, Wu Ming could access items from Dragonist in an instant, but it wasn't suitable for storing or retrieving a large number of items. Therefore, Wu Ming learned the Guardian's skill of opening backpack and developed this skill. I'll take some items that don't have the same effect as me. You can divide the rest among the Guardians, or the anti-theft treasure vault. Anyway, I won't touch it again. Wu Ming waved his hand and said somewhat willfully. Yes. Wu Ming-sama, Belle was taken aback at first, then she showed a smile. Well then, I'll take my leave first, Wu Ming-sama. When Belle was about to leave, Wu Ming stopped Belle. Wait a minute, Belle. I have a question. Wu Ming said awkwardly. What's the matter, Wu Ming-sama? Is there a problem that I, as your subordinate, can solve? Belle looked at Wu Ming. If, and I'm saying if, I'm not the Supreme Venerable you served before, but just a Supreme Venerable who came in after the other Supreme Venerables left, what do you think? Wu Ming asked a little guiltily. Faced with this question, Wu Ming thought Belle would say something like, that's impossible. What does it matter, Wu Ming-sama? Looking at Belle's smiling face, Wu Ming was a little overwhelmed. According to Belle's words, she already knew. Whether you are the Supreme Venerable we served before or not, it doesn't matter. In the end, you were the one who accompanied us into the other world. You were the one who accompanied us and protected us. When everyone was afraid of coming to the other world, you were the one who guided us in the front. Bell walked in front of Wuming and touched Wuming's face. You shouldn't think about this problem. You just need to move forward, because we will only choose to follow you forever. There was a moment of silence in the bedroom. Do the other guardians know? Wuming asked. Yes, Lord Wuming. Demiugos and I were the first to guess. The other guardians were also told by Demiugos and I during the guardians meeting. They all said that whether Lord Wuming is the supreme venerable or not, the one who is accompanying us now is that Lord. Only by doing our best for that Lord can we repay that Lord's kindness towards us. That's what they said. Is that so? Let's not talk about how you and Demiugos came to this conclusion, but I hope you don't resent the other supreme venerables. After all, they will never have the chance to return to Nasarek. Yes, I promise you, my beloved Lord Wuming. Then can you explain why you took off your clothes? Bell. Wuming looked at Bell, who was taking off his clothes, and shouted hysterically. Of course, I'm taking advantage of the atmosphere to take down Lord Wuming. How can I let go of such a good atmosphere? Lord Wuming. Bell returned to his infatuated expression. Really, you've ruined such a rare atmosphere. Get out of my way. Wuming opened his palm, and silver chains bound Bell. What is this? Damn it, don't disturb me and Lord Wuming's happiness. Wuming smiled as he looked at Bell, who was struggling on the ground, but was unable to break free. No matter what, it's still a noble artifact. Just stay here obediently. Once the magic power of this skylock is exhausted, it will automatically disappear. That's it, goodbye. Wait. Lord Wuming. After that, Wuming used the ring of Anziwergong to teleport out of the bedroom, leaving only Bell, who was crying. On the 9th floor corridor, Wuming walked and muttered to himself. Seriously, to think that I was so vexed. In the end, all the guardians know about it. Sigh. As he walked, Wuming found himself in the corridor of the conference room. Demiugos? Wuming saw Demiugos standing in front of the conference room, looking at who he was talking to. Wuming speculated that Demiugos was using message magic to communicate. And Demiugos seemed to be too focused. He didn't notice Wuming's arrival for the time being, until Wuming stood behind Demiugos. Lord Wuming. I'm so sorry, I didn't notice your arrival, Wuming said as he looked at Demiugos, who was kneeling on one knee. It's okay, Demiugos, I don't blame you, including the conversation between you and Cositas just now. I'm so sorry, Lord Wuming. Your intention was to let Cositas understand by himself. I really shouldn't have said that. Demiugos lowered his head even more. It's okay, Demiugos, I said I won't blame you. Come in with me, Wuming said as he opened the door of the conference room. After Wuming went in, Demiugos followed. Chapter 55. Wuming sat on the office chair and looked at Demiugos standing in front of the desk. I know, Demiugos, you can understand my thoughts, and I am very satisfied with your way of helping your companions, so you don't have to blame yourself. Thank you for your magnanimity, Wuming-sama. Demiugos bowed. So, how is Cositas's progress? Wuming asked. Cositas has just finished his first attack, and there is no doubt that he was defeated. Well, I think so too. After all, the soldiers I gave to Cositas were all mindless soldiers that were automatically produced by Nasarek. If they could win, I would be surprised by the lizardman's strength. Wuming continued. Demiugos, tell Cositas that I want to watch the battle between him and the lizardmen. He is allowed to fight, but only one person can fight. Yes, Master Wuming-sama. Demiugos began to use message to contact Cositas. When he was free, Wuming stretched out his hand and took out the staff of Anziwergong from the golden ripple. Remote perspective mirror. It was a special intelligence magic that could see the scene in the distance, and it could penetrate some anti-intelligence magic. Master Wuming-sama, I have already informed Cositas. Well, sit down and watch together. Yes. Soon Cositas won. After all, those lizardmen were not even level 50. How could they win against Cositas, a level 100 warrior? I'm going to the scene to see. Do you want to come, Demiugos? It's my pleasure, Master Wuming-sama. Portal. The black and red ripple door opened, and Wuming and Demiugos walked in. Wuming came to Cositas's side and looked at the few lizardmen's bodies on the scene. Wuming praised. It's a wise choice. After all, when they knew that the other party wanted to subdue their race, they didn't need to send out all of their combatants because if all of them died, it would be a disaster for their race. Sir Wuming. When Cositas saw that it was Wuming, he knelt down on one knee. Well done, Cositas. Thank you for your praise, Lord Wuming. Since we've conquered the lizard men, it's time for us to return. After saying that, Wuming wanted to leave. Lord Wuming, I have a request. Wuming looked in astonishment at Cositas, who was kneeling on one knee and bowing his head. Say it. If it's not a big problem, I'll agree to it. Thank you, Lord Wuming. I would like to request that you revive the lizard men. Oh, may I know why? Because they are all warriors with some strength. I think they can serve Nasaric. Don't you think this reason is far-fetched, Cositas? After saying that, Wuming didn't look at Cositas, who had his head bowed, but looked at Demiugos, who was beside him. Wuming's meaning was very simple. Demiugos asked Cositas to ask for help from Wuming. Demiugos immediately understood and shook his head lightly. Wuming understood and reached his hand into the golden ripples. He took out a short staff with an emerald head and an ivory body and threw it to Cositas. This resurrection staff is for you, Cositas. Although it can be used a limited number of times, reviving these lizard men shouldn't be a problem. Thank you, Lord Wuming. Then, with Cositas's grateful voice, Wuming returned to Nasaric. Demiugos didn't follow him back. He stayed behind to help Cositas use the resurrection staff. As a warrior, Cositas couldn't use any staff-type items. He sat on the office chair and looked up at the ceiling. So the things in Nasaric are almost done. Wuming heard the magic bell, and he put his hand on his ear. What's the matter? Lord Wuming, 2 humans broke into Nazaric's spirit temple. Nazaric's spirit temple. Because Marley had set up an illusion magic circle, no one should be able to break into Nasaric. But I'm right, little Kaji. I told you it was here, but you didn't believe me. The speaker was a woman wearing a black cloak with short blonde hair, and a smile on her face. I'm warning you again, don't call me that. It's normal for this place to be strange. After all, such a large tomb is wrapped in an unknown illusion barrier. If you hadn't stepped into the hero domain, even if you had seen this place before, you wouldn't remember the location of this place. The other was a middle-aged man with skin as pale as a corpse's. He wore a dark red mage robe and held a magic staff and a dark gray pearl. He didn't have a single strand of hair on his head, whether it was a beard, eyebrows, or hair, he didn't have any. Understood. Then, is our Lord Kadjit worthy of knowing what happened to the cult nation? I don't know if the theocracy provoked those dragon kings. Not only the capital's main church was destroyed, but even the 6-color holy scripture suffered heavy casualties. I hope they're all dead, so they won't chase me anymore. Okay, let's go, Clementine. The orb of death told me that there is a huge amount of death energy under this tomb. As long as I can get that energy, I can complete my ritual. After that, the man named Kaji began to move toward the entrance of the spirit temple. Stop, you two. A young man's voice came from the entrance of the spirit temple. Both Kaji and Clementine's faces changed. Clementine even took out her weapons, 2 short thorns. After all, that place was mysterious, and it was always right to be careful. Wuming slowly came out of the shadow and looked at Kaji and Clementine. You two can come in because I opened a hole in the barrier. After all, there are people who want to come in all day long, so it's better to invite them in early. Don't you think so, Kaji Clementine? Wuming crossed his arms and looked at the two with a happy face. Hey, is it because of the conversation just now, Clementine? Get ready to retreat. Kaji's face became ugly. I will do it even if you don't say it. This man is too scary. He has been exuding a terrifying aura. Clementine whispered. I advise the two of you not to move around. If you're not careful, your head will fall off. With that, a few insect shadows appeared beside Kaji and Clementine. They were level 85 monsters called 8-limb assassin bugs. They were responsible for Wu Ming's safety in Nasarek. At this moment, the front blades of these 8-limb assassin bugs were placed on Kaji and Clementine's necks without any blind spots. What? When? Hey! Then Wu Ming said to the side. Shadow Demon, capture them. With that, Wu Ming's shadow flashed, and a shadow rushed toward Kaji and Clementine. In an instant, the shadow covered the two. Wu Ming didn't even look and left. Anyway, Demiurgos would take care of it. It's about time to leave Nasarek and go to the other world. I'll leave tomorrow morning. With this thought, Wu Ming left the surface of the tomb in Nasarek. Then, Demiurgos appeared where Wu Ming was standing before. Demiurgos pushed up his glasses. Send them to the House of Reality in the 5th level, Ice Prison. Let Nihilus take good care of them. With that, he left like Wu Ming. A moment later, the 8-limb assassin bugs and the shadow demon also disappeared. Only the empty spirit hall was left on the surface. Chapter 56. Wu Ming gave his final instructions, and left with Satya and Sebastian the next day. Under the effect of the staff of Anzirgong, Satya and Sebastian were sent into the space of the staff of Anzirgong by Wu Ming, and fell into a deep slumber. After transforming into his dragon form, Wu Ming entered the space-time tunnel. Wu Ming kept flying in the space-time tunnel. Looking at the light spots in the tunnel, Wu Ming could not help but recall his previous transmigrations. When he transmigrated to the country of Shadow, Wu Ming was not familiar with the structure of the space-time tunnel, and was sucked in. After that, Britain was summoned by Merlin. It could be said that Wu Ming had tricked himself. After that, he transmigrated again because of Morgan Le Fay's curse, causing Wu Ming to leave that era and enter the space-time tunnel. Entering ancient Babylon was caused by the crazy Wu Ming wantonly destroying the space-time tunnel, which was caused by external factors. The alternate world where Nasarek was located was brought in by Wu Ming's curiosity. Therefore, strictly speaking, Wu Ming could be considered to have transmigrated on his own initiative, and was not as passive as before. Just as Wu Ming was thinking, a light spot flickered not far ahead. As if they had a telepathic connection, Wu Ming subconsciously nodded. The space-time door opened. Wu Ming tilted his head and thought for a while before plunging in. Then the space-time door closed. Wu Ming felt as if he had returned to his mother's embrace. His entire body was filled with warmth. Wu Ming had the thought of falling asleep again. However, this thought was not serious. After resisting his sleepiness, Wu Ming opened his eyes. At this moment, Wu Ming was in his human form in an indescribable substance. It was like water, gas, and fog. In short, these substances gave Wu Ming a chaotic feeling. However, it made Wu Ming feel very comfortable. Is this the root? Wu Ming had guessed correctly. This was the root of the M-shaped moon world. The shining light spot from before was just a resonance between the M-shaped moon world and Wu Ming. Because of this resonance, Wu Ming opened the space-time door subconsciously. Then, how do I get out? After all, even if the root was Wu Ming's home, this home was too big. Moreover, Wu Ming had never been to this home before. He left this home after he was born. Do I have to stay here until I can enter and leave the root on my own? This feels good. The root is home as the root is the root's bloodline. Just as Wu Ming was thinking, he seemed to have received some news. It was as if someone was talking to him. Wu Ming opened his eyes wide in surprise. Are you for real? I don't mind. If I were to sleep here, I would have nothing to do. Wait. With that, Wu Ming transformed into his dragon form and fell asleep. The dream had begun. An ordinary village, a group of ordinary farmers, a group of ordinary playmates, and an ordinary war. Wu Ming seemed to have turned into a baby and was born in this village called Dong Remy. As if he was watching a movie, Wu Ming realized that time was passing by quickly. In the blink of an eye, Wu Ming was already 16 years old. However, the memories of these 16 years were still intact in Wu Ming's mind. Just now. What was that? 16 years of memories. That's unbelievable. Wu Ming now felt like he was watching a movie. He could only watch what he was doing and couldn't interfere with it. However, this body was indeed his. No matter what this body said or did, it was Wuming himself. Is this the process of falsifying an identity? Sigh. The restraining force acted too fast. I told you to wait. That's right. In the root, Wuming received the restraining force's greeting. Because Wuming signed a contract when he was born, but because he was immediately sent away from the Type Moon world, Wuming did not leave any traces in the Type Moon world. Although Wuming left his traces in the ancient Celtic, ancient British, and ancient Babylonian worlds, it was not because of the two restraining forces in the Type Moon world, but because Wuming joined it himself. Therefore, the planet's consciousness, Gaia, and the human consciousness, Aleia, created a new identity for Wuming to achieve his ultimate goal, heroic spirit. In this way, Wuming's main body was sleeping in the vortex of the root, absorbing the power of the root. Wuming's intention was to enter the heroic spirit palace prepared for Wuming by the restraining force to form a heroic spirit. However, Wuming had the right to leave the heroic spirit palace. After all, when they signed the contract, they signed an equal contract, so Wuming did not have to worry about being trapped in the heroic spirit palace. Besides, the heroic spirit palace could not trap the root dragon. Of course, it was an adult. The scene changed. The country Wuming was in was troubled by war for a long time. A girl who had a good relationship with Wuming came to chat with Wuming. Sodric, you really are here. Looking at his blonde childhood sweetheart, Wuming said. Wuming put his hands behind his head, lying on a piece of hay, and said uninterestedly, "Ah, what's wrong, Jehan? Why don't you pray for the Lord's arrival and listen to the voice of the Lord? Why are you looking for a lazy false believer like me?" That's right, in this village, Wuming was arranged to be a believer of the Lord because of the persecution of the war. Well, don't say that, Sodric, I have something to tell you. Wuming sat up from the ground. Say it, I'm your childhood sweetheart. Jehan blushed a little. She sat next to Wuming and hugged her knees with both hands. Actually, I heard the voice of the Lord. Wuming didn't say anything. The Lord said, "Why do people fight?" Wuming still didn't say anything. The Lord told me, "I can stop this dispute. I want to stop this war." Wuming still didn't say anything. It's just a little scared. Is my ability enough? Let's do it together. The girl named Jehan looked at Wuming in surprise. I don't feel safe letting a village girl like you go to the battlefield. Since we used to take a bath together, I'll protect you. Wuming smiled at Jehan, showing his white teeth. What are you talking about? We took a bath when we were very young, it doesn't count. Jehan blushed. How can it not count? Jehan, are you going to abandon me? I'm prepared to marry you when I grow up. Wuming showed a smug smile. What? I'm not ready yet. No. No. The girl struggled to get up and ran into the distance. As Wuming laughed, the girl hid under a tree and put her hands over her heart. After the war, I can consider it. Chapter 57. After that, the boy and the girl left the village and headed for an important city in France. After a long and dangerous journey, the boy and the girl became a member of the army. The girl got the command of the army because God's revelation was verified. With the help of the boy's wisdom and advice, the girl won one battle after another. In the end, even without the boy, the girl kept winning. And because of the boy's outstanding military talent and powerful force, soon, his status in the army rose and caught up with the girl. In this way, King Charles VII, who was helped by the girl and the boy, divided the French army into two parts and gave them to the boy and the girl. In this way, in less than 2 years, most of the invaders were driven out of France by the efforts of the boy and the girl. The people called the boy Celestial General Sodric, and the girl Saint Joan. And when the invaders were driven out, the girl was captured and slandered as a witch. The British authorities decided to execute the girl in Rouen, France, by burning her at the stake. After the boy failed to get the support of the French nobles and the king, he left the army and went to rescue the girl alone. When the boy came to the execution ground, the girl was already deep in the sea of fire, and the boy directly rushed into the sea of fire and hugged the girl. In the end, the boy and the girl were burned together. Only then did France manage to drive out all the invaders from England. The French king conferred the title of a general to commemorate the boy's achievements. And the girl, after being slandered as a witch, was canonized as a saint in Vatican City hundreds of years later. At this moment, the boy opened his eyes with tears in his martyr's palace. Jihan. As if it was just a moment ago, Wu Ming's eyes were still filled with tears. As if it was a long time ago, Wu Ming's eyes were full of confusion. Seriously, if you want to make history a mere figurehead, then so be it. Why did you give me such an annoying identity? Wu Ming wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes. I said before that I won't cry anymore, but I cried again, ha, Wu Ming laughed at himself. But I heard the last sentence clearly, Jihan. All right, let's see if there's any place where I need to be summoned. Wu Ming sat on his seat in the martyr's palace and closed his eyes to sense the surroundings. This could be considered Wu Ming's privilege. Other heroic spirits could only be summoned passively, but Wu Ming could choose to take the initiative. As for Wu Ming, he only needed an opportunity to appear on his own. Lord, Wu Ming opened his eyes. Yes, that's Jihan's voice. Since he didn't need to pay attention to the heroic spirit's body in the Valhalla, Wu Ming prepared to directly descend his consciousness into the servant's body. Wu Ming's body began to glow. Then, as if he had fallen asleep, Wu Ming closed his eyes. In a certain cemetery, there was a middle-aged man with 3 scars on his face. His name was Lion Jieli. He was a magician and was holding a ceremony. Thy body shall be my life, and my fate shall be thy sword. In accordance with the Holy Grail's request, if you are willing to abide by this principle, then respond. I hereby swear. I am the one who becomes all the good in the world. I am the one who suppresses all the evil in the world. Thou, bound by the 3 spirits of words for 7 days, will of self-restraint come forth. Guardian of Libra. The magic formation in front of him produced a large amount of storms that constantly impacted everything around him. Lion Jieli raised his arms to cover his eyes and head. After a while, the smoke slowly dispersed, revealing the person standing in the magic formation. A knight wearing a white armor with red patterns and holding a red magic sword stood there. The knight's helmet began to disintegrate and scattered around the armor like a machine, revealing a pretty face with a single golden ponytail. There was an unruly smile on her pretty face. I ask you, are you my master? However, Lion Jieli in front of the female knight didn't speak. Instead, he looked at her with a shocked expression. The female knight was a little puzzled and looked at Lion Jieli fiercely. Hey, say something. Bastard. He is surprised that he can summon 2 servants at once, Mordred. What? A voice came from behind Mordred. Mordred didn't seem to know that there was someone behind her. She hurriedly jumped away and raised the magic sword in her hand. You are? How is that possible? As if she saw an incredible existence, Mordred cried out in surprise. Wu Ming was wearing a silver-white armor. He followed Mordred's example and opened up his dragon head helmet. Long time no see, Mordred. To Wu Ming's surprise, Mordred was summoned in this Holy Grail war, and she was with him. No, it should be. I followed Mordred here. So that's how it is. That opportunity is you, little Mordred. Don't give me such a disgusting name. What the hell is going on? Villothoranced. Although Mordred's tone was still bad, she put down the weapon in her hand. What? Is this the Villo Knight known as the Silver Dragon of Britain? Lion Jieli on the side was very surprised. No, master, I summoned Sodric Villo Ste as a saber. Huh? Sodric? Are you kidding me? Mordred obviously didn't believe it. Could it be that the legend of Heavenly Commander Sodlek is true? Jie said. What is the legend, master? Mordred asked. Lion Jieli swallowed and looked at Wu Ming nervously. Legend has it that the young Sodlek, who joined the army together with Joan of Arc, became the highest-ranking general in France in less than 2 years with his innate martial prowess and strategic command ability. He was loved and respected by the French people. But Lion Jieli didn't dare to say it. After all, if the person in front of him was really Sodric, it would be taboo. No problem, master, please continue. Afterward, Lion Jieli continued. Before joining the army, Sodric was ambushed by the British royal family. In the Alps, he battled with the demonic dragon transformed from the legendary silver dragon of Britain, Vero Sealanthud. Sodric killed the demonic dragon with his bravery and intellect. He obtained the armor and weapons of the demonic dragon's guardian, and bathed in the dragon's blood. His physical strength was greatly enhanced, and he could block sharp weapons with his body. However, at some point in time, rumors began to circulate among the people that Sodric had been possessed by a demonic dragon, and that his body had been taken over. That's why Sodric was burned together with Joan of Arc, who was sentenced to be the saintess at that time. Are you serious? Hey, who are you? Mordred shouted at Wuming. Of course I am me, Mordred. Villo is me, Sodric is me, and the demon dragon is me. Wuming's eyes were glowing red, looking at Mordred and Lion Jelly. Lion Jelly suddenly regretted using the round table fragment as a holy relic to summon. Looking at the situation, he might die before seeing the black servant. Chapter 58. Mordred protected Leo Jelly and pointed her sword at Wuming with both hands. Wuming looked at the two with a smile. Both sides were on the verge of fighting. Then Wuming spoke. Okay, I'm kidding. After all, the magician behind you is not only your master, but also my master. Speaking of this, Lion Jelly realized that the other party had also been calling him master all this time. Looking at his hand, Lion Jelly exclaimed in surprise. Are you for real? I actually have 6 command incantations. Wuming and Mordred both looked at Leo Jelly's hand. Leo Jelly's left and right hands had a red pattern similar to blood clots. Each pattern was composed of 3 lines, and the thickness and shape of each line were different. That is the command seal. Normally, there should only be 3 command incantations, but having 6 command incantations meant that Jelly had 2 servants. Well, for the time being, just think of me as a reincarnated Villo Knight. That's it, please advise me, Master. And you can perceive the connection between us, can't you, Mordred? Yes. Mordred didn't say anything, but she was very unhappy. After removing the sword and armor in a very unhappy manner, he turned around and said to Jelly, My real name is Mordred. Nice to meet you, Master. Then Wuming also officially reported his name. My real name is Sodlek. Please take care of me, Master. Please advise me. My name is Leo Jelly. Leo Jelly said helplessly. Let's not talk about the 2 servants you summoned. You actually summoned a knight of the round table in this place. Are you a necromancer? Mordred crossed her arms and said with a look of disgust. Yes, my childhood was accompanied by corpses. Speaking of which, King Arthur's son Mordred is actually a girl. Hey! Master, you'd better not say that word, otherwise, I don't know what Mordred will do. Wuming interrupted Leo Jelly. Looking at Mordred, who was looking at him coldly, Leo Jelly swallowed his saliva. I know. So what is your wish? Leo Jelly first looked at Mordred. Of course I want to challenge you to pull out that sword, but I think with my qualifications, I will definitely pull it out. Mordred said with a proud face. How is that possible? Wuming accidentally laughed. What did you say? Villo. Believe it or not, I'll kill you. After saying that, Mordred was about to condense a sword and slash at Wuming. The position of king has already been decided. Mordred, it doesn't mean that just because you have the right to be king, you can pick her up. Jelly on the side. Why do you say that? You also know that I was a knight during King Yosef's time. As the strongest knight at that time, King Yosef naturally told me about the next king. Wuming looked at Leo Jelly, then looked at Mordred and continued. To be precise, even if I tried to pull out the sword, I could pull it out. The reason why I couldn't pull it out was because Merlin cast a spell, making everyone who tried to pull it out at that time unable to do so. Only my king could pull it out. Hearing this, Leo Jelly was dumbfounded. What, it was Merlin who interfered? Mordred expressed that she was very angry. However, to pull out that sword, having the qualifications of a king is the most important thing. At that time in Camelot, other than my king and me, no one else had the qualifications of a king. However, if you win the Holy Grail, you can try. Mordred, I have to tell you, you are not inferior to my king. My king didn't accept you because she knew you couldn't bear the fate of Britain. These words caused Mordred to fall into silence. Then, as the first knight of King Arthur, the Villo, and as the general of France in the 100 Years' War, what do you wish for? Leo Jelly asked. Wuming smiled. I participated in the Holy Grail War this time because I have something to do with a servant, so strictly speaking, I don't have a wish. Ha! Leo Jelly cried out in surprise. After all, in Leo Jelly's view, whether it was the Knight Villo or the General of France, they were all tragic figures. The former became a demonic dragon because of the curse of the Black Magician and was sealed. The latter was slandered by the British royal family and was rumored to be a demonic dragon. In the end, he was burned to death with Joan of Arc. Therefore, in Leo Jelly's view, it was a bit unrealistic for Wuming to say that he had no wish. Well, after all, I haven't died, so I don't have any wish that can be fulfilled with the Holy Grail. What? Leo Jelly looked at Wuming in surprise. This time, even Mordred looked at Wuming with a surprised face. After all, it was strange to become a heroic spirit without dying. Well, after all, I'm not a human, so I didn't die. I'll tell you this story when I have the chance in the future. Shouldn't we go and meet the other Red Masters first? Yes, the supervisor of the Holy Church and the Red Master sent me a message before, asking me to go to a church somewhere to find him. Then let's go, Master. In this way, under Mordred's complaint and Leo Jelly's helpless expression, the three of them began to move toward the designated location. Sighisoara, Romania, a small church on a mountain. Leo Jelly walked in alone. Wuming and Mordred both turned into spirits and followed behind Leo Jelly. After entering the church, the first thing he saw was a white-haired young priest. The agreed place is here, right? Did you call me here? Although it was a question, it was a tone of certainty. The priest heard someone come in and turned his head. Nice to meet you. I'm Shiro Kotomine. White hair, dark skin, a black priest's outfit, a cross ornament hanging on his chest. This was a person who, whether it was his voice or his personality, would give people a feeling of peace. I'm Leo Jelly. I'll skip the self-introduction. Well, then the servants around you are a bit abnormal. Did you find Sodric? Leo Jelly thought. Wuming told Leo Jelly that he just followed Mordred to the world. It was also because of his own skills, so he didn't need Leo Jelly to provide much magic power. He just needed to maintain the contract. After all, without a contract, the servants couldn't appear. The servant I summoned is a little special. Forgive me for my lack of manners. Of course, no problem. This is also your privacy. Mordred, who noticed that something was wrong, removed her spirit form and revealed her body in full armor. Through the contract, Mordred sent a message to Leo Jelly. Annoying aura, let me be like this for the time being. Leo Jelly looked at Mordred and didn't speak. Wuming also appeared. He was clad in white full-body armor, a helmet that resembled a dragon's head, and a cape that was used as a decoration. He gave off a rather reliable feeling. Wuming and Mordred stood on the left and right side of Leo Jelly. Then, I'll come out here too, Fengshiro said. A woman in black clothes who looked very sinister appeared behind Fengshiro. This sinister woman was also a servant. I'm Assassin, my real name is Semiramis. She gave Wuming a feeling of seeing Morgan Le Fay. Immediately, Fengshiro and Leo Jelly sat on the chair in the church and began a short conversation. After that, Leo Jelly said that he wanted to act alone. So, you're not going to act with other masters? Are you not used to group battles? Fengshiro asked. Yes, and I have enough power here, so I'm not going to act with you, Leo Jelly said calmly. After that, Leo Jelly got up and walked toward the door. I wish you a prosperous martial arts, Mr. Leo Jelly. Leo Jelly opened the door and walked out. Thank you for your blessing. Pung dash. The door closed. Chapter 59. After walking out of the church, Wuming and Mordred entered spirit form. How is it? Did he chase after us? Leo Jelly asked. No, but you can rest assured because this guy is super strong. Mordred conveyed her words to Liu Jieli through the contract. You really think highly of me, Mordred, Wu Ming teased. Although I don't want to admit it, if this guy still has the power of a knight, we will win this Holy Grail war, Master. Oh, although I know that King Arthur's first knight is really powerful, Saber. Is Sodric really that strong? After all, from the conversation with Liu Jieli, he knew that the number of times the knight Villo in King Arthur's history was not many, and he was basically the commander. Of course, Master. This guy can be said to be in existence that even my father may not be able to defeat. Although I don't want to admit it, the Villo is indeed the strongest in Britain. Looking at Liu Jieli's shocked expression, Wu Ming said, Well, let's not talk about the combat power first. After all, I came as the French General Sodric, so it is inevitable that there will be some differences in ability. Is that so? Then this name is a problem. Both of you are Saber. Master, please call me General. General? That sounds like the French word for general, right? All right, I'll call Sodlek General from now on, and Mordred Saber. Why? I also want a different name. Sure enough, Mordred is still a child, Wu Ming thought. Let's not talk about this first. Why don't you stay, Master? Mordred asked. Liu Jieli was stunned, then said, Didn't you two not want to stay? The minority obeys the majority, so let's leave. After all, he's a servant with Queen Mother's aura, which means he's not someone you can trust. Mordred said angrily. Mordred is right. Semiramis is not inferior to Morgan Le Fay in terms of methods, intelligence, and ruthlessness. It was because of Morgan Le Fay's scheme that I revealed my true form. So, General, your true identity is a dragon. Liu Jieli was a little surprised. Yes, Mordred, you should know that King Yusef and Merlin once summoned the legendary dragon, and that was me. No way. Are you for real? That legendary dragon that has never appeared before is you. Mordred couldn't remain calm anymore. Of course, after I transformed back into a dragon, due to Morgan Le Fay's curse, I, who was unable to transform into a human, was corrected by history and brought away from that era. That's true. As a top-level fantasy breed dragon, it should be impossible to live in King Arthur's era, unless it's a sub-dragon or something like that. Liu Jieli touched his chin and analyzed. After all, Wu Ming's dragon form was mysterious in that era where the gods had passed away, so it was naturally excluded by the era. Unfortunately, Wu Ming was the root dragon, so the era couldn't do anything to Wu Ming at all. If the summoning time hadn't been shortened by Morgan Le Fay, Wu Ming wouldn't have to leave at all. Well, you guys can think of it as that. Wu Ming said embarrassedly. Just like that, while the three of them were talking, Jieli the lion took the two servants and left the church. In the church, Fengshiro Yanfeng and Semiramis began their discussion. It seems like we've been alerted, Master. It's not my fault. Semiramis laughed. If the other party has two servants, it's not easy to get rid of them. Semiramis cheerfully said something that no one could understand. After all, Jie Jieli was the master of the red team. Yet he actually thought of ambushing his own people. The other party is also pursuing the Holy Grail, and is now on our side. Besides, even if it's an ambush, it's unlikely to succeed. Fengshiro said with a warm attitude. I didn't expect the other party to summon two servants. Let's not talk about the possibility. Does he have a way to provide magic? After all, the magic supply of two servants is not something that anyone can control. Semiramis said. Maybe it's a miracle. After all, the Holy Grail War is not short of miracles. The young man said. Then Semiramis continued to ask, Did you see the other party's real name, Master? Yes, I saw the real name of one of the servants. The other servant has a hidden noble artifact or skill. Oh, then what's the real name that you identified, Msader? Sodric, the general known as the Divine Warrior in the 100 Years' War between England and France. Oh, if it's that one, we can't act rashly. Semiramis said. That's right. I saw the special ability of the servant named Sodric, Mystic Dragon. It seems that the slander of the world has become a curse that accompanies this general who saved the nation. Well, it seems that we have to finish the courtyard quickly. The ritual should be completed in a day or two, right? Well, of course, at this moment. A brown-haired bearded man dressed in a greenish-brown British costume with a cape draped over his left shoulder shouted as he barged in. "Horse! Give me a horse! I will exchange my whole kingdom for it." "What are you doing, Castor?" That was Semiramis, who was scared. "Oh, the Empress of Assyria. So what are you doing here?" The berserker went berserk. "What?" On the other side, because Wuming said that he was going to find the servant he was looking for, he separated from Jieli and Mordred with his own skill. "Really, why did you say I have solo action, so I'll leave first? You think you're so great just because you have solo action?" Mordred, who was in spirit form, was wearing a pair of shorts, leather boots, a bra that barely covered her breasts, and a red jacket. She was walking with a displeased expression on her face. "Don't say that. After all, it's General's wish. Besides, aren't you wearing the clothes that you really want to wear?" Jieli walked beside Mordred and observed the surrounding terrain. "We are in the enemy's base and no one is ambushing us." After that, there were a few people in the shadow in front of them. They were cyborgs that looked basically the same. Behind the cyborgs stood several large stone golems. Not only in front, but there were also enemies on the roof and behind them. "Ha ha ha, as expected of my master. You even used yourself as bait." Mordred patted Jieli's back and laughed happily. "Ahem. I'll leave the golems to you, and the cyborgs to me, okay?" Jieli coughed a few times. "Of course." Chapter 60. At night. After separating from Leo and Mordred, Wuming embarked on a journey to find Joan of Arc. "I always feel that there's something wrong with that priest, as if he saw through me." Wuming walked on the road, thinking about what happened in the church just now. Forget it, the most important thing now is to find Jean. She must have appeared as the ruler. Since it's a daily routine, she will definitely come here to Tulifas. What I need to do now is to set up some detection magic. Wuming couldn't help but show a proud smile. Fortunately, Dragonis also descended into this body as a noble phantasm. After finding a hidden place, Wuming opened Golden Ripple, reached into his hand, and took out a large number of scrolls. "I remember Yarel, and the others gave me a scroll with reverse detection magic." Sure enough, after picking and choosing for a while, Wuming found the scrolls. That kind of scroll could block the opponent's detection magic, which was the so-called false eye with the ability to see through the truth. Wuming planned to set up that kind of scroll in many places. Well, although there are many skills in the game that can detect this kind of magic, I believe that unless it's a servant's special skill, it's impossible for a magician to detect this kind of magic. Then, Wuming began to run all over Tulifas. Fortunately, Wuming had the skill magic. Otherwise, it would be unrealistic to set up those scrolls in one night. After all, the servant's body also limited some of Wuming's skills. For example, Wuming forgot all the skills related to Lune's magic. The reason why he didn't forget the magic in Yggdrasil was because those magic were not the products of the moon world. And the servant's body couldn't make them forget. Although it's interesting, the servant's body is really inconvenient. After all, Wuming was not a dead hero. Being able to walk in the world again was a rare benefit for those heroes. Who would care about forgetting their skills because of their class? Ha! Is Master and Mordred done? Just as Wuming was setting up the magic scroll, he detected that Jieli and Mordred were ambushed by the Yugamirene side. However, this ambush was only a probing attack by the cyborgs and the marionettes. Right now, Jieli and Mordred were heading towards Wuming. Wuming sat on a big tree and looked up at the starry sky, waiting for Jieli and Mordred. The starry sky in Nasric time is still the best. That's why, as long as we win the battle, it's fine even if we have to use our teeth. This was Mordred. "Where did you come from, Berserker?" "Seriously. This was Lion Jieli." "Yo, did you have fun, Saber?" Wuming jumped down from the tree and waved at Mordred. "How could it be fun? Those magic puppets can't even take a beating." Mordred shrugged. "Looks like it's a test by the other side." "Well, General, have you found the servant you're looking for? Is she really not a member of the black side?" Jieli asked. Not yet. But didn't I say that she will only become a ruler, not a servant of both sides? Wuming said. It better be true. If she's not a ruler but a black servant, I will definitely beat her until she pisses her pants. And Mordred turned her head away fiercely. Actually, I've been curious for a long time. I remember in King Arthur's legend, Mordred and the Villo had a good relationship. Before Lion Jieli could finish speaking, a crimson-red scarlet thunder demon sword was pressed against his neck. Who would have a good relationship with him? Be careful if you keep talking nonsense. I know, put down the sword first, Jieli said embarrassedly. Hearing this, Mordred put down the sword. Ha 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 ha, you're right, master. Mordred and I have a good relationship. As for why Mordred is so mean to me, it's just a matter of bloodline. Wuming smiled and patted Jieli's back. It was rare that Mordred didn't refute. She just turned her head away. Seeing this, Jieli knew that it must be another story, so he didn't ask anything more. Well, where are you going next? Wuming asked. Back to the stronghold to rest. What about you? Do you want to continue looking for the ruler? Of course, then that's it. If there's anything, contact me through the contract. After that, Wuming's spirit body disappeared. Let's go, Saber. I know. On the other side, Wuming and Jieli just separated from Mordred, and Wuming received the news of Jieli. Oh, the red berserker went berserk? He's coming here, so is he going to attack the black team's base? As expected of a berserker. What are you going to do? Jieli asked. You tell the priest, I'll go and see, Wuming said. Understood. After that, Jieli cut off the connection. Wuming, on the other hand, went to the direction that Lion Jieli said to meet up with the Red Archer and Red Rider, who came to support the Red Berserker. In the forest near the Yugdamarinia's castle, a tall man wearing prisoner restraining iron armor was constantly moving forward. He let out a terrifying laugh as he spoke. Ha 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 ha, oppressor! Oppressor! On the tree behind him, there were only two figures, a man and a woman. The woman wore a green-brown dress with black garter socks, long green hair to her waist, beast ears on her head, and a beast tail behind her. The man wore a Greek-style light warrior suit, a red scarf fluttering behind him, green short straight hair fluttering in the wind, and a wisp of bangs fluttering in front of his forehead. It wasn't until the Red Berserker was temporarily intercepted by the enemy's golem that the two began to talk. You think you can only abandon him, Ryder? You think it's strange that you can persuade him, big sister? My name is Atlanta, don't call me big sister, Achilles, the woman who claimed to be Atlanta said. This is just a more intimate name, don't mind it. In this regard, the person called Achilles just smiled. Then Achilles stopped laughing and said, Since there's a chance, let's see those guys from the black team. Well, but if this guy uses noble phantasm, retreat immediately, Atlanta said. Understood, Achilles said. You are Red Archer and Red Rider. Suddenly, a voice came from behind the two. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.